Welcome, everyone. We're back.
Here we are.
Misfits, one and all. Who you won't believe how many non-biblical sources confirm the resurrection. James, did you know how
happened.
many?
It's
seems
real.
Like a lot.
It's
Totally
real.
real.
This is real.
Where? That's right. In this episode of Skeptic and Ranting, we're watching a video from the channel called it's not called Kirk Cameron on TBN. TBN? He's on is TBN the faith network that
Trinity
Man
Broadcasting Network.
Trinity
Yeah. Oh no. That's not Banana Man. That was Pat Robertson's thing. Right? Yeah. Banana Man is Living Waters Ministry. I think that's his front organization for his criminal empire.
They all got a shtick. But yes, won't you join us for you won't believe how many non-biblical sources confirm the resurrection. So won't you join myself, Amy Newman, and James W. for a sourceful good time. Wow, very resourceful. Catching my breath there for a second. I want to thank everyone for joining us out there on the intertubes. Please don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe. I said it, YouTube. I said it because then you can see premieres or hit that bell icon to see premieres or join our live streams. James, I have to get the rust off now. Nonetheless, I hope that you're all doing well.
You've been watching Alec Baldwin movies, haven't you?
I can't believe they're making that movie. I'm sending love to Alec Baldwin, but let me tell you,
are they actually finishing the movie?
Oh yeah, a trailer just came out just a few weeks ago. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, all the comment section was, what everyone expected, which was, wow, I hope this hits off with a bang, or I hope we never saw this one coming, or things like that. But they take it looks like a very serious movie. I can't help it. When I think of Rust, I play the video game that gives me PTSD.
Hello? Yes.
Good times.
Which video game?
It's called Rust, and it's a survival game. You survive on an island, and you can build different bases, and you can go from, arrows all the way up to like shotguns and snipers and things like that. So you raid bases, and when you're just playing it by yourself, as I said, it just makes you kind of go, okay, it's safe. We're safe. Okay. Rachel wants to play it, though. I should play it. Sending love to everyone who plays.
Minecraft, but less engaging. I don't know. Somehow.
I will say the survival genre has been exploding lately. And as someone who likes Minecraft, that's not a terrible thing. I like that I can relate to my second graders if I am teaching a lesson. Like sometimes they'll have words that'll be like material. And you're like, we need higher materials, like between diamond and wood, like in Minecraft. These are different materials.
What is that? Is that Miss Penelope
my aides
up
just
there?
stare at me like, what is diamond
is that
swords?
Miss Penelope over there behind you?
Yes,
Miss
it
Penelope.
is. Oh my goodness, I can't tell if
she's not one of the regular.
Yes.
That's just her, or is the other one behind you?
No, she is there, and then Moonlight is kind of chilling right there.
Okay.
He could be sitting in a box. He has an empty chair that I have for him. Though, honestly, he really just wants the pink chair. If I hold the pink chair up, chances are he will jump in the pink
He
chair.
will jump. He will jump in. Yeah. Most
Yes. I messed his game
No?
up because I
No.
moved up.
Oh,
No,
okay.
he wants it. I messed his
Right.
game up. Oh, you're gonna take the other? This is cutting edge streaming. It is Cat Picks Chair. I hope you are all doing well, though. It does feel good
Cats
to
make
be
the
on.
choice.
Oh my goodness. The problem is I wanted him to do something, and if you want a cat to do something, they just pick a chair.
Oh, there goes Penelope.
Yeah. She wants the box. Woo! Sending so much love. The sinister porpoise says, is the answer between -1 and 10 in binary? It's either 0 or 1. Life is either binary or it has to be. Yeah. Sending so much love. Oh my goodness. As well as the sinister out there. I know she's teaching out there. And to all her kitties as well. Sending so much love. He found a chair. We're solving mysteries. What is up, everyone? If you hit that like button, it allowed you to say hello to everyone out there. Like we can say hello to the wonderful... Uh-oh. They took him. They took James. It's generally Satan. Sometimes it could be our boss, Soros. But it was, also our other boss, Satan. It's hard having multiple bosses sometimes, but...
Happy Easter.
Yes. Happy Easter. Happy Passover. One of the most... I feel bad saying this because it's, fun is relative, but was explaining to Rachel today Passover because she had never really heard the story of Passover or never really looked into it. And yeah, she was horrified. I was like, yeah. Well, let me tell you.
Horrible story.
I mean, the only way that it's not horrible is if you ignore that he did the hardening of the hearts, which I find most of the Sunday school tales, that is how they get away with it. They don't mention that at all. And I feel like that is the key detail that turns it from he's freeing the slaves to it's like, well, he
mean
kinda...
old Pharaoh didn't want to let him go. Pharaoh is mean.
Mean
Pharaoh.
Well, he kind of let the slaves go like plagues ago. And so maybe not kill the firstborn Egyptian sons? I don't know.
That was going to be the most fun. We have to keep it going at least long enough to kill all the firstborn.
Also, he likes the smell of blood. And so, come on now. How else are you going to get that? Oh, sending so much love. Sending so much love out there on Facebook. I see you and sending love.
Thank you.
Don't want to name check them in this administration, but I know. Let's continue. What's that?
Or Gerald. Call Liam Neeson. Or Jason
Yes.
Stroud.
Did you see that Liam Neeson is about to do a new Naked Gun? Or not Liam Neeson?
I heard
yes, Liam Neeson.
Is Liam Neeson going to do Naked? Okay.
Am I getting things mixed up? Who was the original guy who did Naked Gun? Leslie Nielsen. Yes, it is Liam Neeson. Yes. Another trailer just dropped for that. It's only about a minute long. But yes, go check that out.
That's what she said. It's only about a minute long.
Unfortunately. What are we talking about? I prefer 7 Days to Die. Also, 28 years later. About to come out. If you like zombie films. James, so much good
after the last one.
Yes, basically. Because there was 28 days later. That was the original.
Now 28 years later. 28
weeks later. And now 28 years later.
Yeah.
I think someone eventually... Oh, I'm going to cough again. Excuse me. We'll eventually get to 280
28
years later, or sometime
28
into the
decades
future.
later.
Yes, I'm looking forward to space zombies. That is really what I'm looking forward to. Zombie movies and shows always have the same premise, and I like the premise. But do you know what it is, James? And I'll tell you. It's the dirty
Tell
little
me.
secret of all zombie series, okay? And they say it with a wink, and they say it with like a deep nod in like the 9th episode. James, do you know who it's the end of the world and zombies are at your throat, but do you know who the real bad guys are?
Cats, squirrels.
Close.
Yeah. Oh.
Dun dun dun. Yes. It's always humans.
The aggressive humans trope, like we've seen in science fiction many times.
And
they came in peace. We just frightened them, and they had to defend themselves.
And you know, it's the end of the world, and they're biting at our throats, but you know who the real monsters are, James?
Yeah.
It's humans. I mean, it's true.
Angelo's written works. Does Otangelo have written works? Extensive?
He does. He has, I believe, the Shroud of Terran. This time it's personal, volume 1 through 69.
Didn't he have a site full of like sources, but they're all himself, like quoting himself?
He has. Again, if you don't know who this person is, just insert random creationist. But you know, he has. This is definitely a scientific website.com, in which he cites. Is his own website in which he cites himself.
Total realgodscience.net.
Yes.
Real scientists love Jesus. Like real men love Jesus. Like real scientists love Jesus.
But James, how else can you explain? I can't even do the voice.
But did you know that gravity have no effect on gas?
Yo,
so
that
the
is
sun
such a
have
weird...
to be held together by God because gravity cannot affect gas.
And see, that just shows. I always say that, like, the creationists and the flat earthers, they're almost crossing over at any moment. They could, and he's flirting with it.
Two sides of the same coin. I'm sure he probably is a flat earther by now, or a what is
the YouTube algorithm has taken him down that route. I'm sure at this point.
A flat earther probably thinks all vaccines are evil. And, yeah.
Oh my God! I don't want to get too political.
Yeah.
Someone recently came out. I just want to point out, okay, and I'm not directing this at anyone, whether they have a junior in their name, whether they have a senior in their name. James, I could be talking about any random person, okay?
Right.
But like, autism,
regardless of the clarity of their voice.
Yes, regardless of whether they sound like they've been smoking 5 packs of cigarettes a day. I shouldn't say anything for how much ganja I smoke. Nonetheless, that's not even his fault. I shouldn't make fun of him for that. But that, if he was a Batman villain, that would be his calling card. I mean,
right.
We're
There's an
talking
Islamic
about
demon that's like a smoking ember. It's like a pictured like a literally a smoking ember type of jinn or whatever. I've seen it before. I've heard about it before.
Jinns. I'm trying to think. What were the Hindus calling them? Avatars. Are there evil avatars? There has to be. I've seen 2 movies, 2 different types. Whether he has a arrow on his head or they're very blue. What we're talking about anyway. Autism doesn't need to be cured. I might have ADHD, James. Don't ask me. This is why this is personal. As someone who is
human evolution.
Exactly. Humans just come in many different forms. But as someone who is neurotypical, They love it when you put something before your thing. As someone LGBT, as someone woman, as someone insert, as a human being who just cares about other human beings, autism doesn't need to be cured. Okay, PSA. Again, whether you have junior in your name, senior in your name, whether you don't have either of those things in your name.
The third, the fifth, the 26th.
Third, the fifth. It's so stupid. I hate the weirdest 45th. Thing about our politics, James. They're just a gaggle of people. Who knows what their politics are? They're just. It's just like you took a random shotgun and just. And those were the political views. Not like and not a Second Amendment thing. I mean, like each bullet within this spread shot was just. What are we talking about? The world's not on fire. Everything is fine. Let's focus. This gaggle that we're going to talk about today is very much. I think James brought this as much as almost like when he wants to go in the ring. I could feel James cracking his knuckles because we hear, name checks like Josephus, but I also didn't know. I don't want to say star-studded because we sometimes pick content on what we think would be more interesting. But I just forgot how much Kirk Cameron was a shill for Christianity, or had become a shill for Christianity, and people like Lee Strobel just randomly pop up in society. And
I was a real atheist. I know. Really hardcore atheist.
And there are three among the theologians that Kirk Cameron talks to, or whatever apologists, whatever they want to call themselves. Lee is one of them, and then there's two others. But I think at least 2 out of 3 of them have that same story. But James, I was a naturalist and an atheist, and I believed in science right up until I gave up, everything so I could believe in my Lord Jesus Christ. Just like you. And I mean, I get it.
Drink the Kool-Aid,
because
Jesus Kool-Aid.
We give the same story in the opposite direction because we have no choice. Most of us were theists. I mean, I was just told you don't really get a choice. Your parents say, we're going to here now, and they say, put this on, and you just do. And they say these words, etc., etc.
I don't think we harp on it quite as much as they harp on the fact that they used to be atheists.
Well, I mean, I don't think that we're bitter. I think that we all sometimes go through what we commonly say is the angry atheist phase. It's just when you first come out, you go, well, shit, I was being lied to. I can't believe. Shit. Yes. And you might think of all the time, and I went through, and I will say this truly was a phase. It was a time where I think if I would look on myself, I would say, "Come on," which is I'd give fingers to churches and things like this in my mid-20s or early 20s or things like that. And I mean, what is that? What is that?
Expose your genitals to a synagogue, whatever. Hey.
The classics, Rabbi. James.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that doesn't really get anything. And I think what that became is you begin to intellectualize why people do the things they do. If I ask my mom why she sent me to Hebrew school, she'll say, because I wanted to be a good person, not even because I wanted to be a good Jew, or maybe she might have even said that, or if she did say I want to be a good Jew, what she's trying to say is I want to be
she is,
Yes, because they don't really care about the holidays or whatever.
Yeah.
But my mom just wanted to make sure she did the right thing because that's what her parents did.
She at least exposed you to it, got you, your heritage.
Yes, and so I did the Jew thing, but then, at 12 or 13, get out of there. Though it's a very weird religion because they allow me to leave, but they don't really allow you to leave. They allow
don't really
you to
consider
leave.
you.
you are allowed to leave up into the gate. They'll even allow you to say there's no God. Weirdest thing.
Because you're still Jew.
It's Hotel California, James. You have people who aren't Jewish will say that, and they'll be like, but did you know about the Jewish rules? And you're like, what are you, the representative of the Jews?
Well, it's like
whatever.
Well, they used to say that. Well, Barack Obama is a Muslim because his father was, and according to Islam, it goes through the line of the father, so therefore,
which is also bullshit. I looked that up, and what it turns out is yes, Barack Obama's father was raised Muslim, but if you look at what happened, actually, he was agnostic. He expressed doubt in college, and that was one of the things that he connected with his soon-to-be wife with.
But even if he was a Muslim, it's still rule doesn't still apply. That his father, so he has to be a Muslim. No, he doesn't. He can
no, exactly. You're not the same. You're often not the same religion of your parents. You might start that way, but I just think that if he was the same religion of his parents, then that means that he would have leaned towards agnostic. But yes, you don't know.
May
someone's
actually lean towards agnostic.
I hope. What would be? It wouldn't be terrible at all. I hope he. Well, I mean, not to be. Can I tell you how sad this is? This is how sad, and I think that I feel like I'm an honest person, and I believe that Barack Obama was our first agnostic president, and I believe Donald Trump was our first atheist president. I'll stand. I feel like I could defend those things. Oh my God. He wouldn't even accept that right now because he pulls the whatever.
Yeah.
But you can buy his Bible. He signs with Lee Greenwald so that he can have amazing grace. He can have the Constitution, which I believe would make many of our founders having the Constitution and the Bible that close. They'd be like, do you misunderstand what we're trying to do here? Even I think many of the Christians would say that.
Yeah.
Even Thomas Jefferson, who was really a deist, but painstakingly, who you may call a cultural Christian, went out of his way to make a non-miracle version of the Bible, the Jeffersonian Bible. They went out of his way also to say that we are a church. Or a church. We are separated, church and state. We're not a church. Though we're more a bank, if you would like to see what we're being currently run by. X.com was originally a banking website. It's like being a vampire or being a werewolf, James. The politics now. What happens is it's like the hair. I try not to have it turn blue, and then every once in a while, it's just the moonlight twinkles, and I just go, woke is actually a good thing. You want to be asleep?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Come on. Come at me. I'm still politically incorrect, too. I feel like the Bill Maher saying of I haven't changed. Maybe it's that the political system has been rolling back rights. Anyway, I still even would defend. I'll tell you the weirdest thing, James, is there was a point a year or two ago where I felt like I was becoming too much of a bootlegger, James. You would hear me say statements like, well, the West has treated me very well. And so it's hard for me not to defend the West. I mean, my goodness. I might as well be licking boots. It's harder and harder right now.
I mean,
harder and harder.
They're very long and very hard.
I know. They haven't come for me yet, have they? All right, we're doing good. As long as I don't become like my aunt and think that he's coming after me personally, I'm still doing good. But she thought about all of the presidents. She was indiscriminatory. My aunt also, I want to say God rest her soul, but we don't believe in souls. I need a different expression.
Yeah.
But my aunt, for how crazy she was, put her money where her mouth was and fled the country multiple times and got deported from many Western countries, which I think is the funniest thing. It is very hard to get kicked out of, I believe, South Africa, I believe Israel, and I believe in Canada. She got kicked out of Canada. James, you know how hard it is to get deported from Canada?
I don't.
It's hard.
But I'll take your word for it.
Woo! To deport a white lady in a wheelchair. Oh my goodness. Anyway, she was like Carmen San Diego, but her legs didn't work. And she thought that
what about Japan?
She thought the government was after her. She probably would go to Japan. The problem is every time she was like, these are the most amazing people. This is where I need to live. And within a month, they would be like the ones that were spying in her coffee or whatever. The human brain. She had multiple master's degrees. She was working on her doctorate.
Yeah, I remember.
Anyway, this is an interesting timeline. That's what I like about this timeline, James. I mean, we haven't gotten flying cars, but we've definitely gotten some things. What have we been talking about? Yes, we are Skeptic Ranting.
Easter, happy Easter, the resurrection.
Happy Easter. Yes, and happy they passed over, not killing your son. So it's a good holiday. My goodness.
Well,
and the bunnies makes no sense.
That lamb's blood on the door, That's
yes.
It
is horrible. It truly is horrible.
The blood or paint the blood on the doorpost.
And like each Hollywood version, I know has their way. They show that scene, tucking their child in tight, and then they tuck the Pharaoh's son in, and that's who you're really feeling sorry for. But then they don't want to see like 10,000 individual sons being murdered randomly. So they just have that one lady scream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no lights on, but then that one light goes on, and
a mother finding her child.
A mother screams, exactly, and she represents I guess everyone's child or firstborn son is being murdered right now. Good times. It's where the family values come in. What's up, everyone? I've been ranting a little bit. Sending so much love. Sending love, Jamie. What's up, Fenton, Trusty Ape, davegar. Sending love. Oh my God.
It might have been on a 5 1/4 floppy, like our Carmen San Diego game.
I used to love that game. It was a good time. That and Oregon Trail were my jam when we were playing games on school computers, but I love StarCraft. Oh my goodness. I was trying to explain StarCraft to Rachel the other day.
Before her time?
She just was. I guess she wasn't, and she was more of a console gamer.
Oh, okay.
Off again. But that lady becoming a Zerg queen is my childhood. Sending love to Blizzard, because they make good games, James. They make very good games.
They do.
Let's see. What were we doing? We'll do a few more shout outs. What's that?
The tally ho.
Tally ho. And then we'll get into it. This is a trifecta of apologists being interviewed by Kirk. I want to say Cameron. I don't know if he scams. He's not. Is he as much of a scam person as? I mean, they all are on some level. The prosperity gospel people definitely are. And I guess why I'm hesitant to really give him that label is he might actually believe it, James.
It's
Again,
possible.
is that the difference? Maybe the jets that they fly on, but someone like Kent, I know, is a scam artist because I know he's just been taught science by the best people in the world. So he could still be a Christian. He could still believe that, this guy rose 32. I can mix them together. 3 days, 72 hours. Thank you. And then still believe that we evolved and the Earth is 4.5 billion years old, etc., etc.
If he doesn't understand that, because he doesn't want to understand it.
Yes, it's because he is a con artist. He's also not stupid because he makes money off this shit. He makes the types of jokes to which you only, even if they're dad jokes, you need a certain level of intelligence. And he has been, again, taught, and I say taught because I guess technically there'd be debate in the title, but taught, educated in biology numerous times and physics, and he is a scam artist. Just like, again, the people who are trying to sell you seed donations, you cannot buy better luck by donating to people. We're about to give shout outs. We are
accept seed donations.
I do accept seed donations. Rachel and I both accept seed donations, but they're a little bit different. And they happen after the show, and only if you are very good. Anyone out there, if you're listening, you're a very good boy. What were we talking about? Yes, I'm as blue hair as I am, and James, I am blue hair, and I'll sit here all day, and I'll get basically Bernie Sanders and talk about free healthcare, and I'll talk about how we need to reform the prison system. I'm not giving up my iPhone. I don't want to give up capitalism. I may want a little bit of compassionate thinking when addressing issues in politics and humanity. And yet, it's not that I want to, They call you a communist no matter what, James. And sending love to anyone out there that is a communist.
You're not thinking about putting the wealthy in meat grinders and feeding them to people,
I'm just talking about eat the rich. No. Metaphorically, I'm not a fan of the billionaires right now. But no, I don't want them harm. I wish they would be decent human beings. You see who people really are when they're rich.
Well, what'd you think about the space flight, the women astronauts? That meme was going around.
I have a very contrarian
this week.
So here's the thing. I have a very contrarian view, okay? I understand the people who are criticizing it, but now I'm getting to a point where I want to be like, all right, but it's not, that's what these people are there for. That's it at this point. No one wants to fund NASA. They get angry when we give more than a pittance of 1% to NASA. I basically want to send a rocket to Tesla stock. And let me send love out there, because I would never key a Tesla. I would never firebomb a Tesla. You shouldn't harm the do-good liberals who, up until a few years ago, had no idea that he was going to give a Nazi salute twice. We stand by that. And so what you have left is these rich billionaires like I think AOC what is his company name? It's not because Blue Origin. And so I don't know how to feel about this PR event, because at the one point everyone's mocking it because they're like, oh, this is where feminism's at. And I'll be honest with you, it's right. It's a cheap PR trick. That's all it is. That's all they're trying to do. On the other coin, well, at least they're trying. It's better than, let me tell you, I thought we were going to, I still think, to they're getting ready to tie those hoods and the handmaid's tale around our neck. And so I guess I kind of prefer astronaut Barbie, you know, a little bit, right? As what could be coming, as opposed to holding the candle and going, thank you to the men who uphold society and allow us. Voting was actually a bad idea. We probably should just wear these outfits and not really look sexy.
Repeal the 19th or whatever that meme was.
So, like, and again, I don't mean to be that dramatic because I get it. This is a cheap PR chick. This guy could give all. He did it to put it because he thought he could put his wife in outer space, and because either, you know, I've already seen the Shane Gillis take, which was like he was kind of hoping that this was a way to get a cheaper, to get a younger wife, and you know, and I could take the other position, which is where she probably nagged her way up there until he's like, fine, I'll fucking let you go.
You want to go to space? Go to fucking space.
But it's good. But I'm gonna make it look as much as a penis as I can. That's the only way I'm gonna do it. So I don't know. I have both of those. I'm sympathetic to everyone that understand that it's a cheap PR trick, and yet I'm looking at Target, who doesn't have a spine anymore. So I almost yearn back for a year or two when they were doing the cheap PR tricks. More companies were, because at least then I thought, to my wrongful assumption that they had our back. Was that optimistic or pessimistic? I'm not sure what my take was. I guess a little bit of
capitalism
both.
Really loves us. They
really love us.
They really love us.
James,
they
really
think
diversity.
They actually believe diversity is strength. They don't just say it because it sounds good. They really believe it.
James, this is what they mean it to their core. They have allies and black and women and minority and LGBTQ partners in the streets. And by in the streets, they mean bye, see you in the streets. Yes. I don't know. In like an alternate world, I want to congratulate them because Katy Perry probably in a little girl probably said, I wanted to be a singer and an astronaut, and she got her wish. And you know what? Kim Kardashian is this close to having her law license. So I'm actually okay with women that we view as bimbos, let's be honest, no one wants to say it out loud, as trying to promote science. Again, astronaut Barbie is not a bad thing. I just wish it came with a spine behind it. If I knew that Bezos, who I'm pretty sure is the guy that's going to start the first Terminator movie. But like if I thought he had our back, I would be more excited. So I started this as not wanting to criticize them and trying to take the contrarian, and now I feel like I've come in the opposite direction. I don't know. Everyone has the same position right now, which was it was really lame. But no one else is doing things for space now, too. Try to come back.
You know what it reminded me of? The feminist Ghostbusters, that version. It was like, I got the same vibes.
All right, I got a rant from that, too. Okay? Can I tell you what was wrong with feminine Ghostbusters? It's not wrong that it's feminine Ghostbusters, okay? It's that they mistake what makes people strong. And they thus mistake what would make a woman truly strong in those films. And it's not giving a woman power. It's not giving a man power. Okay, James? I'm going to go real toke out, college professor.
I'm listening.
Okay? What makes someone strong and makes you root for a character is adversary. I can't even say it. Adversary. You need to go through challenges.
Adversity, yeah.
To sound really deep, it would help if you could actually say the word, James. Again, all those college loans, I guess, for nothing. Nonetheless, you need to put things and put people through challenges. You need to put them up against conflict, and you actually need to see them have things taken away. In fact, I have a single rule. This is my most college literature I'll get on you tonight. All right, James? If you want to make them the most powerful character in the story, okay? They're a badass, okay? They can take on anyone. They have the ultimate unlimited sources by which they have strength. Do you know what I want from you, James? Okay, I want a deal. All right, as a character. Right. I only want a simple thing from you. All right? I want everything. I want everyone you loved. I want everything that you enjoy. And I want all of the things and people that you cared about. Give them to me. As they turn to dust, I will make sure you're the strongest character. And I tell you, any character that you look at who's truly powerful, who is this ultimate badass that we think and we want to say, I want to be like them, look at their backstory. Look at how they got those powers. It's how you root for a person, all right? It's the difference between...
they have nothing to lose. They've had everything taken from them, so they're allowed to go out and kill everybody.
If you are just a badass and you can just go out there and you've had no pain, no suffering. Again, you don't have to. There's a reason not to bring it full circle, but to use mythic structure. That's why the Jesus story resonates with people, because if you were to take it literally, sacrificing yourself makes no sense like that. But like mythic structure, you have to. 2/3 of the way, there has to be some sort of sacrifice, some sort of deepest, you're at the lowest point of your, time where you think everything's going to fail, and then you come back up.
Like you're in 7th grade and you find out the boy or girl doesn't like you and you're ready to, you're at that level of losing everything.
Yeah, or it's a military movie, the army's been defeated, or that's the same if you're a superhero or, things like that. The person you were trying to save the whole time has been captured again. They're about to take them to the main villain. And it's, I'm very much a big fan of, and this is what nets, unfortunately, what I think so many people into the, what is the Canadian guy, Jordan Peterson and all that. I'm a big fan of mythic structure, of people like Joseph Campbell, who's way better than Jordan Peterson. I'm a big fan of, what is the guy who does archetypes? Campbell? No, there's Joseph Campbell. What's the other guy? There's another guy by which gets archetypes. Now, they sometimes have a bunch of wooey stuff that comes by, but because you don't want to think that they're literal. It's not like people are literally like the thief or the warrior or stuff like that. But Carl Jung, thank you, Sinister. It's good for, creating characters, but, doesn't always exactly apply to real life. But they reflect in us because they are archetypical. Suffice it to say, write literature with them, but please don't create a religion and tell people that you found them from golden tablets in your hat. It makes too much sense not to be true, though.
It's a big hat.
It's a big hat, though. Yeah. What's up, Beamsy? Sending so much love. Yeah. Well, let's do the shout outs, James, and then I'll
Let's
hand
do
it
it.
to you. Sending so much love. Many ways to support the channel. I'm going to send it up one more time just because she's so amazing. You can send in super chats and we'll dance around. I like to
She is
dance.
amazing.
What shirt do I got on? Yeah, baby. Science doesn't care what you believe. We'll interact and send love. And then you can join our channel membership below with our evolving badge system. We do many things on evolution. We have our evolving badge system because creationists get upset. I could say triggered, upset. But they don't like that we evolved from single-celled earlier organisms. They don't like deep time. I don't know why it has to be, you'll hear the old Earth creationists. They're just like, it says 6 days, but who knows what 6 days means? It could mean 4.5 billion, 13.8 billion. You go, cool. The chutzpah, the balls, James, on the people that are like, yeah, it was 6 literal days and it was 6,000 years old.
Or 6,000. That's old. I'm 77
Very
years
old.
old. I'm old, but 6,000 is very old.
Very old. Excuse me, James. 10,000 years old. Way older. Okay. Yes.
Pretty old.
Sending so much love to also our patrons at patreon.com/Amy Newman, as well as all of our supporters, like Azo, reminding us we have a Skeptic and Ranting community. Come one, come all, just not on my sheets, please. Oh, I gotta wash those. I'm just kidding. The femboy washes those. Sending so much love to Chris Disciple, reminding us that we have theists in the Skeptic and Ranting community. You just have to be skeptical of your beliefs. What's the one that they doubting Peter? Is that the one? Was there was always a skeptic. Wanted actual evidence. Doubting Thomas. There we go. Doubting Peter.
Where Jesus held up his hands and showed the holes through them, and Thomas could stick something through those holes in his hands, whatever he wanted to stick through.
I was going to say, are we reading the same story? Okay. Whatever he wanted. And after a few moments, Thomas said, yeah, I'm satisfied. You'll be my savior,
you got
baby.
A hole in your hand. I can fuck your
Sunday. Yeah. He made all this wine. It made it much easier. And he wears a lot of, long flowing robes, long hair, whatever.
He's actually
whatever
kind of like, he's like 7 foot tall and he's really got big muscles. He's a bodybuilder type, really jacked.
He was a carpenter, self-sufficient. Knows how to fix things.
Well, don't you remember
make his own furniture?
Mary Baxter, who Jesus took her to hell, and she's like, "Well, Jesus, he was about 6'5", muscles, long flowing hair, just the best looking guy you could ever want to see."
Blonde hair, blue eyes,
blue eyes,
or tall, dark, and handsome. Whatever you're into, really.
Muscles. Yeah.
James, I just like that we've had people that have said that they have both topped God. Well, of course you would imagine God topping you, but then they top God. We've had people that have said we've switched with God. We've had people that have had sex with demons. We've had people that have had sex with angels. James, we've had people who've had sex with him. He's cute. I just like Guyliner. Vance, call me. We
had a guy.
He wears girls'
shirtless guy cooking a steak in a pan.
Yo, that to me is the funniest thing. If you're new to this channel, you don't know. We did have a gentleman who I think James will back me up on this. He had a GIF, a rolling animation that was just a shirtless man cooking a steak. And
He said that was his camera because we kept hearing noise in the background, and he said it was because he's cooking a steak, and he showed the animation.
James, I mean, I would have converted probably if that was his actual picture to almost any religion. I would have taken Rachel with me. She would have.
I think he's still cooking that steak.
He probably is.
Yeah.
Medium, please.
Throw some bacon in there and wrap that steak around the bacon.
God.
There you go. Oh, she just came.
I think I did.
Yeah, she just came.
And it's a shame.
Done.
I love animals. I'm
done.
like this close to being animal rights activist.
They should have
animal rights.
Taste is good.
Exactly. Oh my god, pigs are so smart, but they're so good. Oh, and I have so many years. I have 12 to 13 years to make James. Actually, I was fed bacon that entire time. But shirtless man grilling a steak. That's Tuesday for me. Oh my goodness, that sounds good. Dum 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 is South Park. New South Park coming out. Check it out. They are amazing. I love Matt and Trey. They're generally fair politically. They are libertarians. Kind of just this close to being anarchists, I think. But sending so much love to them. Sending love to Dale Pastel. We like empirical evidence. It's all we're really asking for. We'll accept argumentation, which I know. Give us philosophy. Give us a syllogism. I'll even let you do it on my face. If it's two premises and a conclusion, of course.
It's a long syllogism. It's going to have lots of premises, lots of conclusions.
Oh, no. And I know. And I'll take a shower afterwards. But, at least make sure that your premises follow in your conclusion. It's
got to be non sequitur. Complete.
It's got. This is collab. We're going to present collab. Does it have an argument for God in it? I mean, does it need to? Well, it actually has in God. Okay, it's okay.
I mean, we put in God we trust on the money. That's enough. You affirm his existence every time you spend $1.
Every time you spend that big old dollar, even those Benjamins. No, that got put in the 50s because of communism, for fear of communism. Oh, no, we're going to give people health care. I know, again, because I like a market, James. I'll keep on saying, as blue hair as I go. I just don't want crony capitalism. I wish that they would allow people to, I don't know, have pee breaks and 401ks and all right, keep on going before this becomes a union meeting. Sending love to davegar. Sending love to my mom. My mom was like, maybe you shouldn't be talking so much about all that political and you do the stuff and what are they gonna do? I mean, come on. The next thing you could say is no. Oh my god. No. Oh my god. Oh. God. I'm sure that sounded fantastic on everyone's ears. Anyway, no, I'm gonna be okay and think we're coming for us. I'm not saying free Luigi, as Bill Burr is saying.
Yeah.
What do we say? He does. He said it like once or twice. Here's the problem. Bill Burr doesn't give a shit, but when they ask him and they try to make him get real political in the interviews, then he just throws it back at them and he's like, you shouldn't be asking me this shit. So I think he just does it because he wants to trigger people. But
troll trigger.
He's my favorite living comedian. I stand by it. I think I have a current 3 favorite, James. And this third one,
remember I used to have a rolling Bill Burr counter to see how far into the stream you would get before you
get to Bill Burr quote. That sounds about right. He's still my favorite living comedian. I have 3 favorite living comedians. The third and the fourth and everyone else could probably be argued over, but Bill Burr is definitely my first. And I'll defend my second because he gets a lot of flack. And yet I think, especially from people like me, and yet if you listen to like the long form version of what he's saying, my second favorite living comedian is Dave Chappelle. The problem with Dave Chappelle, being an LGBTQ person, especially a trans woman, I'm not supposed to say that a lot, as my mom would love to say, breaking her heart. But is he says things like, I think I'm Team Turf. But then he spends like an hour explaining why he actually understands trans people. But then the headline, okay, for the next like month and a half, like, is Dave Chappelle Team Turf? And it makes it very hard for me to be a Dave Chappelle fan. And yet I know he had a transgender lady as his opening act for a little while until she committed suicide. Da 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 da. Sending
that's
love.
rough. That's a.
I know.
Ending.
But I know that he has personal stake in it in that way, that his opening did that. And oh my goodness. So I wish he would be more nuanced on some of that. He is nuanced if you go into his long form. But don't give them the Dave, don't give them the clickbait headline. It make it so much easier to defend you, baby. Because he does have wisdom. The other cheap, and I'll say this last pot shot, is the last thing. When he had Elon on there, he brought Elon on stage, and they started to boo him. And he made a joke. He said, don't listen to him. Those are the cheap seats. Funny, yet also kind of being a dick. Kind of punching down.
Kind of.
Still probably one of the funniest living comedians. It just, again, Dave, please make it easier. Don't defend the billionaires and don't make clickbait headlines if you're actually an ally. Yeah, my third is Shane Gillis. I've been binging him lately, I think. There's a lot of good comedians out there, though. A lot of good ones out there. Go check them out. I do have a Bill Burr counter. Sending so much love. Do you like Stanhope? I do. I haven't just out as much as I would like to. Trying to think of other ones that I've been listening to lately. I listened to a lot of Jimmy Carr. I listened to a lot of Jim Gaffigan has snuck in a lot. What is the guy that didn't look like he used to age, but now he's aged? He's on SNL. Oh my goodness, he's a sweetheart. John Mulvaney is another great comedian. Gosh, I could do this for a while.
I like a comedian named Pablo Francisco. He's not one of the most well-known, but
why does that sound so familiar? Pablo Francisco. He's not a bigger guy, really is he? Good.
No, he's not like heavy set. No, he's regular.
I'll have to check him out too.
I'll send you a link to some of this stuff. He's really good.
I need to get on the comedy circuit more, so the comedians there can stop roasting me. Saying I only go once a year. I have so much material from just life, but I need to do more religion. Dude, sending so much love out there. Oh, thank you so much. So much love for you.
Thank you, Rachel. Good to see you.
Who's queen everyone should love? And that's Fluffy. Fluffy is who I was thinking of. That's literally who I was thinking of, Beamsy. He bigger guy in the Hawaiian shirt, almost a Kent Hovind. Gabriel Iglesias. There we go. Check him out. He's another good
George
one.
Lopez.
George Lopez is good. Trying to think. Chris Rock actually should really be my number 3rd. If I really have to, now that I'm thinking about it, I forgot Chris Rock was alive. He is amazing. And I'm not just saying that from 5 fingers to the face. If you really look at his specials, he's amazing.
He's good beyond the slap.
That's kind of cooled off now. They're trying to make him a thing. I'm kind of angry at Will. I hold weird grudges. I hold weird comedy grudges. I will not watch anything by what the hell is that lady? She has the same name as me. What the hell? Amy
Schumer?
Amy Schumer. Yes.
Related to Chuck Schumer.
Is she related to Chuck Schumer? She's
related to Chuck Schumer.
She steals material, ladies and gentlemen, or at least she did.
I don't think she's like even that funny, but
anyway. I have an unforgivable. I'll tell you, James, I am very good at breaking the law. Probably better at breaking the law than I am at following the law. But I do not lie, cheat, or steal. That is very important to me. And so that and Dane Cook, another one. Very famous for a little while, had his time. But at least Robin Williams was rumored to have cut people checks. He at least had the decency. Yes. I don't like to bring him up. I don't like to bring him up because he is personal to a lot of people. He was a funny improv comedian. I will grant that to him. He was. I struggle with the later part. Whatever. Yes, if you show some remorse, he's the only one. I haven't heard Amy Schumer fucking Dane Cook cut a check. If you cut a check, you actually means you have some sort of sorrow, some sort of remorse. So
Kai Donnie Don.
You can tell that I'm emotionally dealing with it more than that's my ethnicity, James. That's Rachel's ethnicity. That's your ethnicity, James. Okay, I stand by it.
What is that?
Comedian.
Comedian. Oh, okay.
All right. So we deal with our own. What are we talking about? Sending so much love. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. Sending love to SNL. Sending love to Norm Macdonald, one of my favorite non-living comedians who would have hated. I can't tell if he would have hated or not hated this show.
What show?
Our show. This show.
This show?
Norm was not a big fan of atheism. Norm was a Christian.
Well, yeah.
He was a contrarian. He loved playing the idiot when he was very well read. He read Russian literature and philosophy and
read Russian. He was a Russian literature.
Russian literature fan. He was Dostoevsky and read about death and all sorts of. That was the entire shtick. Was he like, if you play the fool, what happens is assholes try to take advantage of you to be cool in front of other people. And what you can do if you are actually not an idiot is you can make that person look very stupid. And that is what Norm did over and over and over. It's truly his trip. That's what I think Bill Burr does to some degree. because he tries to play the everyman. But, you know, every once in a while, just got to eat the rich, James.
Season them.
What are we talking about? I'm just kidding. I love my billionaire friends. The gated community will be a safe once it all falls and the currency isn't worth anything.
Gay community, GAYT.
Yes, gay. Hey, speaking of which, Pete, too early for me to make. I was gonna say Pete, go Pete, but I'll go for anybody really.
Pete already?
He was gonna win in the what's it called? Though I would vote for a Republican. I view all the Republicans as spineless right now. Before they became the what's it called party. I don't want to bring his name up like Voldemort. That's all he wants.
Well, they were on the way to extinction before he took over. They would be a minor party by now. They would be regional, but they wouldn't be national, competing nationally.
They made a deal. They made a deal metaphorically with the devil. The nationalists.
They evolved to stay alive.
The nationalists took control, and he's not one of them, but he'll get them everything that they want. Independents aren't happy. If you look at all the data, all the what's it called. I bet Dearborn, Michigan is not happy right now. They voted for him.
See.
Oh, my favorite thing.
Are we done with the show? Oh, no.
Are we done with the show?
Oh, did we finish them?
James,
Don't think we did.
love you so much. Hold on one second. I'm gonna get.
Do it. Take a big swig. Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. We know you didn't, Sinister.
Send so much love. I may be doing the same. Have to be on very specific days that I'm off and stuff, but you know, resist, ladies and gentlemen. Do what you can. Sending so much love. Anyway, who is out there? Who is out? More love. Who are we doing? davegar. The world is 4.5 billion years old. And round. Very, very round. I don't know if anyone knew this, but it is. And sending so much love to Rachel Holen. She was out there. Sending so much love, Rachel. Reminding us that you don't need to take slaves from the nations around us like the Bible would prescribe. You just need to go to a bar and, pick someone up. I don't know. Go to a kink bar and pick someone up if you're looking for a slave. Look for a femboy.
Yeah, bondage club.
That's right. And sending love to Regos, reminding us that we have a skeptic Bible study, and the Bible is, it's not that great a book. They call it the good book, James, but really it's only exposition or murder. Those are really the two modes.
Yeah, it's not the best book. There are better ones out there.
Book. We make a book called the goodest book. And sending so much love to Ian Davenport, reminding us that apologetic arguments suck. And it doesn't matter if they're contingency, doesn't matter if they are Pascal's wager, doesn't matter if they are trying to think of others.
What about the ontological argument? The teleological.
Exactly. All these cosmological arguments for God. Those are the popular ones.
Bullshit-ological.
And yes, thank you to all of our supporters, all of our Patrons, all of our channel members, all the people just in the Skeptic Ranting community. But all right, James, we are Skeptic and Ranting on you wouldn't believe how many non-biblical sources confirm the resurrection. What's up, Dale? My question to you is, this definitely came on your plate. I mean, this is, like I said, the apologist. Lee Strobel, but it is Kirk Cameron and a whole bunch of others. What are your thoughts going into this?
Oh, Amy's got Gizmo as her avatar. That's so cute. Anyway, yeah, there you go. Kirk Cameron, he's been doing this nonsense for what, like 15, 20 years now. So this is kind of nothing new. He's been going down this evangelical rabbit hole, and that's fine. There's lots of Christians in Hollywood, in the film business. That's fine. He's one of the more rabid evangelicals, conservative, young earth creationist. He goes to that extreme, so that's why he ends up in our wheelhouse a lot. Makes lots of controversial claims, talk to controversial people. So we know that Christians, they believe in the resurrection. They believe based on faith. They have faith in the biblical account that it happened, and they're entitled to that. They can believe whatever they want to believe. Based on faith. All religions require faith. Apparently, it's something that God really likes, for us to just believe something anyway without evidence. It gets him hard. He just really likes it when we believe anyway, even though it's something we can't prove. So he conceals himself. He hides the evidence. He wants us to just believe it anyway, while making overt threats. But these guys, what they try to sell, it that, oh, this is not faith, blind faith. This is, oh my gosh, there's just so much evidence. You'd be so unreasonable not to recognize the breadth of evidence for the resurrection. It's just so overwhelming. And like, no, it's really not. We've got the gospel accounts, and that's basically it. We don't have any other good evidence for him raising from the dead. The gospel accounts were written and people believed it. Yeah, lots of people believed it. We know they believed it. They believe it today. They believed it in the first century. Doesn't mean it happened. Doesn't mean it's evidence that it happened. The whole really isn't great evidence for the whole story, period, but especially in terms of the supernatural claims, the resurrection, the post-resurrection sightings, supposedly witnessed by hundreds of people, but we only get one account of it. But it's cited as 500 accounts. Well, of course, we know that's only one account. It's not 500. Now, who are these 500? What are their names? Can I talk to them? Did they write anything about it? Well, no. Most of them were illiterate. They didn't write anything about it. They didn't say anything about it. Well, I mean, sinister. I don't know if Jesus would have a green card. Would he? He'd have to apply to come into the country, I guess. I don't know. Was he? Well, actually, I mean, El Salvador would probably be the perfect place for him because the country is named after the Savior, Jesus. So, I mean, that actually would probably be a really great country for him to be in. The country's named after him. It's dedicated to him, Jesus of El Salvador. But yeah, the resurrection, the key claim of Christianity, which is it really a sacrifice if you know that you're God and you know that you're going to be able to raise yourself from the dead in 3 days? Is it really a sacrifice? Like when people, when a person sacrifices their life for another person, they get no such assurances that they're coming back. They don't know. When firefighters run into a burning building to try to help people that are trapped inside, they do so knowing they might not walk out alive, and they take on that risk knowingly. For Jesus, it wasn't really a risk. It was a horrible weekend, as Matt Dillahunty says. They focus on the harshness of the gospel accounts of what Jesus went through, but that's really just par for the course for that era. It wasn't anything that was uncommon. The Romans had a very brutal, very inhumane justice system. That was how the world was back then. So yeah, there were lots of people who died horrific deaths back then. And that continued all the way up until the modern era. It still, in some cases, occurs today. People die horrible deaths for deterrence or whatever from some authoritarian regime. But it's really nothing unusual at the time for them to crucify somebody who they considered a rabble-rouser, a threat to the order. Well, at least the Romans and Jewish authorities of the first century gave him due process. Well, I guess he did have a hearing, at least according to the gospel. He didn't really try to defend himself because he knew that he was going to die. That was his mission, so he wasn't going to talk his way out of that. Tell me what the Bible says. A huge asshole. Oh, well, hey. I can't help you out with that too much, Sinister. Oh, the Inquisition. Well, yeah, you have to put yourself in the mindset of the Inquisition. You have to understand the thought process that went through it, and it really is a symptom. It really is a logical extension from religion. If you believe that the Christian faith is the only way to heaven, and that these tenets that people have to believe, they must believe in Christianity. And if there's people out there preaching the other things that people are trying to get people not to believe these essential things they must believe to be saved, well, then they're taking people to hell. They're causing people to suffer forever. So according to their mindset, while it may be incredibly mean and cruel to torture somebody here on earth and to force them to confess or to execute them in a horrible way, but in their minds they were saving infinite suffering in the future if it could prevent people from going to hell, if they could stop heretics from leading people astray, then they could stop people from going to hell. Of course, we know it was horrible. There is no God, there is no hell. There's no reason to do that, to police what people believe. It's not really effective. Like the forced conversions of Jewish people that happened in Europe in the Middle Ages. The different countries, they would say, well, we can't force you to convert to Christianity, but we can expel you if you don't. And so a lot of them ended up converting to Christianity, and then they decided they really didn't want to be Christians. They kind of still wanted to practice Judaism, and that became a problem. That became an issue because now they were baptized Christians practicing Judaism, so the church had to go in and root them out and find out who the Judaizers were, who's the rabbi, who's doing the circumcisions. Yeah, it was a horrible thing. Not even just with Jews, but other groups. The Cathars, they tried to root them out for their unusual beliefs. The Waldensians, groups like that had some of them had more or less Christian beliefs. Some of them were more loosely based on Christianity, but the church wanted to root out and destroy them all. And actually, to a large extent, they were pretty successful. They had pretty much marginalized most of those other groups, until the Protestant Reformation happened. There was no way to put a lid on that. Once it spread throughout the Holy Roman Empire into Germany, that cat was out of the bag at that point. Although they did the Counter-Reformation, they did try to pull it back, but the cat was out of the bag by then. And you had the English Reformation, and today we have all these hundreds of slightly different denominations, all preaching slightly different gospels and whatnot. Slightly different takes on Christianity. And as I've told Amy many times before, you could go to a church, you can even go into a Christian church, and you will never find two people that have the exact same beliefs on everything to do with the faith. You'll never see that. It'll never happen. It's actually very hard to find two people who have the exact same belief on any one issue. Even that's you take an issue and you start breaking it down, and even within the issue, you see slight differences and variations on, like ask two different Christians their definition of the Trinity, right? They'll be similar, but you will get sort of different answers about how they think it functions and works, because they just don't know. Because it's a contrived concept. It doesn't exist. There's no way to test it. It's not real. It can be whatever you want it to be. There's no actual way to verify the true nature of God because he's not real. Oh, well, the Nicene Creed. I mean, do they all actually believe it all, or do they all simply recite it? There's lots of Christians who recite things they don't actually believe. I mean, the Catholic Church is known for that. They all say that they believe the Eucharist is the real body of Christ, but they don't act like it. I'm sure a lot of them really don't. They think it's just a piece of cracker. Of course, the church says no, it's the body and blood of Christ, and hey. But their behaviors and a lot of times really don't seem to indicate that they actually have a fear of this God, or they actually have a fear of going to hell. In fact, in the modern era, what we've seen is the church evolving to fit man's standards, right? And they would say that they'd say, well, that's proof we're falling away in the last days. But that's what's happening, is that the church evolves to fit man's standard, not the other way around. Whereas when they had control, they would say, no, homosexuality is wrong. It's just a sin. It's evil. No, no, no. Now, faced with the prospect of people not going to the churches, more and more of them are open to it. And, as I told Ken Hovind before, there are lots of Christian churches all around the country, all around the world, where LGBTQ people can go, and they'll be treated just like any other parishioners. They won't be discriminated against or hated. They'll be welcomed in, and they'll be treated like other brothers and sisters in Christ, right? You can find that everywhere now. But you will not find one single accredited university that teaches young earth creationism, or that any such thing is even worthy of serious consideration. No, they say no. Young earth creationism is not science. It's not true. There's no evidence for it. It's dumb. But thank you, Amy. Welcome back.
Thank you. Sending love. I see Ember out there. What is
Cannibalism
up?
is good.
And I'm sending love to Mark. What is up? Sending
Mark.
love to everybody out there.
Happy Easter, Mark.
As well as Michael on Twitch and everybody there. Yeah, in a second we are going to get into it. We are
even when they challenge Jesus about, like, drink your blood and eat your body, he said yes. He basically doubled down, like, on the cannibalism thing. He didn't say, oh, it's a symbolism, or it's it's not real. It's just a way of thinking about it. No, he doubled down and said, yes, eat my body, drink my blood. So, of course, that's where the churches who do preach that way will say, well, if it was just symbolic, Jesus would have said so there. Like, it's not really my body. You're just doing it as a symbol. But, of course, a lot of the denominations, that's too crazy. So it's
not a cult, though. Again, you're eating his blood and body. Or sacrificing a virgin to a god.
Oh, yes.
Again,
has had a few brain aneurysms, yeah.
I'm realizing we sometimes get flack now in chat because people go, why are you still talking about Kent? Because he's been basically reduced to nothing. But it's true. I think that we have a special place in our hearts for his level of corruption. No other way to say
evil.
His schemes, cult. Yes.
His cult level nonsense.
And but I'm sure there's many others. I'm
Right,
sure what's it called? Darth Dawkins has been reduced to, nothing. And so
good old little Pee-Pee, he's gone. He left.
is he not do content anymore?
I haven't seen hide or hair of him in over a year. Not that
I mean, sometimes, life takes you down. I think life makes my things more complicated for me. But then people like Darth Dawkins, people like Kent Hovind, they get reduced to this not because of karma, not because of, deities or anything like that, but they're just dicks. When you do shady stuff, James, it eventually catches up with you.
It does. There are Christians who are not assholes. There are plenty of nice, good people who are Christians, and eventually he gets exposed, even among them, as one of the worst, one of the degenerates.
They don't want a wife beater representing them, so they, sometimes go after him.
I know he was convicted of child molestation, but he was set up. He was set up. He was set up.
Mm-hmm. Just like that child that was it? There was one that was found by a lake, and then one that was found in the hands of a child predator.
Right? Yeah. The child predator who Kent said they set him up because he exposed Bohemia Grove in California, the satanic rituals. So they set this guy up for child molestation. He was convicted 37 counts of child molestation. But he would never harm a child. I can tell you never. That.
It was the satanic government cult. Yes.
Yes.
And
then come to find out that child did get touched at Dinosaur Adventureland by this guy in an inappropriate manner. So hey.
He is gone. Is he at least gone now? Do we know? Who knows if any of these people?
The guy? I don't know. I haven't followed it.
I haven't followed either. But all these people, he's all these events, and somehow that thing is still up. You know how? I wouldn't say it's up to Jesus. It's through succouring people. It's through the slave labor that he gets. Yes. Anyway, we are Skeptic and Ranting on You Won't Believe how many non-biblical sources confirm the resurrection. Oh, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
We got anything else to say, and then we will jump into it.
No, it's going to be Easter in 13 minutes.
Is it? Oh, what a lovely time to do it. Can I just say that's also the funny thing to me about the big Christian holidays is they're all stolen from pagans, right? I'm not crazy. Like,
well, they certainly have influences from paganism, Sure.
The Easter definitely as we change into the spring season. And then we kind of have the winter solstice with Jesus, and it just seems to line up coincidentally.
Well, there's been so many world religions. Pretty much every day at some point has been used by one of them as a feast day. But sure, yeah, Christianity was influenced by some of the other religions at the time. It's valid, but they're just as bad as any of the other religions out there. So
I mean,
unique in that regard.
All the religions do them all to each other. The hardest thing I think of an atheist, I mean, it's not hard, but the most difficult thing is, and actually, hold on one second. I'm going to switch browsers because I think Firefox didn't give us the best sound last time. But is we have to be equal to all of them in our both praise, whenever they do something right for the right reasons, and criticism for praise I am that I am. But let's get into it. I was telling James before the show, it's just crazy.
Oh, there he is.
Hi, Roger.
Oh,
yes.
No, that's Kirk Cameron.
But I forgot that he became such a shill for Christianity.
What do you think about the beard, though? That's the important. That's what everybody wants to know. That's what everybody needs to know. The beard check. What do you think?
So, And I'll take a second look when we actually go into the video. This is just a thumbnail.
Right.
But he is at, I would say, the limit of where you have this like weird zone, James. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a zone right here where you have to get up to here to have like the long beard look. You know what I mean? Like the Abraham Lincoln look. But like there's a mid ground where he's about to enter, though he hasn't hit it, where you look homeless. Now, I think because he hasn't hit it, he is that scruffy guy look still. And so it works. It looks sexy. I'm not criticizing. I'm just giving the warning that that's probably the length that has to be maintained. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm being
keep
fair.
going. Don't keep going unless you're going for the full beard.
Unless you're going to like right here. That's right. You got to hit that full beard length. Again, if you go past that, then you just look like you are the old man who is 100 years old. You're the guy in the fairy tale.
Right.
That is Kirk Cameron, the freak. What is up? There are a few heavy hitters, I should say, I guess, if you're a Christian or apologist or a theist or that side in this. We do have Kirk Cameron. We do have Lee Strobel, along with two other apologists. Dude needs a trim. See, davegar saying needs a trim. I agree. I would say it's like he's hitting that limit where like you could pull it off, but like you probably should shave. You're really hitting that. There's some girls into that though. Some guys into that. But like, you know,
he's getting ready for bear night.
You might want to trim an inch or two if you really want to look, the trimmed-est while having a beard. Again, not ugly though. It still works. Okay, now that we've gotten, I feel like the important epistemological, ontological questions about his beard out of the way, we can move forward. We can, in fact, Skeptic and Ranting about you won't believe how many non-biblical sources confirm the resurrection. I saw that comment. Yeah, you might be growing out the Jesus beard. Let's get to it.
If Jesus is not the Messiah, there will never be a Messiah. Because nobody can go back and fulfill things that needed to be fulfilled.
James, how's that sound? Is that too loud? That was like screaming to me.
It's okay on my end, but
okay, good. But that
you can take it down a little bit. But
already we're off to a claim that they cannot prove.
We're off to the races.
But okay. Yes.
Before the destruction of the temple in 70 AD.
Isn't it true that it's not only
takeaways
in the Bible that we read about Jesus?
Takeaways, by the way, also a fantastic candy bar. I feel like that'd make a great way. We're selling takeaways.
Living, dying, being buried, and being seen after he died. But that's also attested to by non-Christian contemporary historians during that time.
So some of those facts, yes. I know you're not implying this, but when skeptics say to me, well, what about outside the Bible? There's kind of an assumption that we can't trust the Bible.
What outside the Bible?
I'm telling you, Kirk, if we had none of these other sources, I still think we can trust the accounts in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Well, you have to.
We know that.
Yes, so do I.
With that said, when we go outside of the scriptures, you have writers like Josephus at the end of the 1st century.
All right, James. Every time that I hear that, I bring up Josephus. Do you have any thoughts right off the bat there?
Nah, just let him go. Just let him speak.
And affirm the existence of Jesus.
And who's Josephus?
Josephus was a Jewish writer writing on behalf of the Romans in the 90s.
Not a Christian.
He was not a Christian. No.
He was a Jew.
And so he gives basic facts. Jesus, the brother of James. Jesus lived. He was died. There's reports that he's the Messiah. He doesn't give all the details, but he tells details that help support and corroborate the accounts within the Gospels. You get in the 2nd century, you have writers.
He just regurgitates the gospel narrative in his own writing because that was believed. That's what people were believing. That's what people were saying. Basically, what Josephus is, he is confirming Not that Jesus existed or rose. He's confirming that Christians existed in the first century, which, yes, we know. Christians existed in the first century. They were already there. We know that. That doesn't prove it's true. That doesn't prove there was an actual Jesus behind the myth. It just proves that people believed them to be true. You think, oh, well, that means it had to actually be true. Well, okay, that's one take, but it doesn't have to be that way.
An historian, and he also points to the existence of Pontius Pilate, the death of Jesus, the persecution of early Christians.
Pilate, yeah.
You find these extra biblical sources. And by the way, there's not a ton of extra biblical sources on anything in that time period at that time. So the fact that they would even talk about Jesus, who's a religious leader in a small corner of the empire that didn't have any political power anyways, is significant.
I've read in your books, like The Case for Christ and others, that it wasn't just...
Oh, and here we go. Our first taste of Lee Strobel, because it gives us a sandwich of each apologist.
The biographies of Jesus written by his disciples and those inside the Bible, but accounts of Jesus' life written by those outside the Bible who were not fans of Christianity.
He looks like Penn Jillette right here. Penn Jillette's lost weight. He looks like him.
Actually, 110 facts about the life, teachings, miracles.
Now he looks like Drew Carey. Anyway, who also lost weight. Sending lots of love to men
to the
who
Price
lost weight.
Right.
And The Price is Right.
Resurrection of Jesus and ancient sources outside the Bible, documented by the historian Dr. Gary Habermas in his book, The Verdict of History. And so he goes through all these are references to Jesus in documents that are not part of what we would consider to be Holy Scripture.
You talk about the 9 ancient sources that confirm
Holy Scripture, much better than just regular Scripture.
The conviction of the disciples that they really did see the risen Jesus.
Exactly.
And I love this point. James, why would they die unless they really believed it? I mean, like super, super really believed it.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe they were just
Lots of
convinced.
people have died for their religions over the years.
I know.
Maybe they really believed it. Doesn't mean it's true.
And it's important to understand most of what we believe about the ancient world is based on one source or 2 sources. So I'll ripple through those 9 sources real quick. The creed that I mentioned in 1 Corinthians 15, that's so early, that's the first source. The second source is the Apostle Paul, who got to know some of the
second source is Paul, which I like to call Christianity. No offense to anyone out there, but I like to call it Paulianity. Because it's really his religion.
He had a huge part of it.
Disciples, Peter, James, and John, for instance. And he says in 1 Corinthians, whether it's I or they, we're saying the same thing. Jesus rose from the dead. So he's confirming that the disciples encountered the resurrection.
I mean, it's not a complicated narrative to remember. It's like, okay, we all got our stories, right? Right. He rose from the dead. It's like, oh, I mean, they're all the stories match up. Oh, that's a very complicated narrative. Yeah, okay. They all said he rose from the dead.
It's also saying what people said. It's not saying we saw him rose from the dead. It's saying people said they saw him rose from the dead. Fantastic.
I mean, I see people. It's been confirmed that Elvis is dead, but people see him all the time. I mean, you have weekly sites
every year
of Elvis, and if that doesn't prove that he rose from the dead, I don't know what does.
Book of Acts, and even atheist scholars will admit, contains these summaries of teachings of the early church.
Right.
And what's the teaching of the early church? The resurrection. Peter gets up in the same city where Jesus had been executed just a few weeks later and says, "Men of Israel, listen to these words. This Jesus, a man attested to you by miracles and wonders and signs, which he did in your midst." You know that he did. He's a...
And I like it. They can always do it like thousands of years ago, but James, they're all out of miracles. All right. That was a time past.
Miracles. We don't get that. We don't get miracles. We just have to have blind faith. And it is blind faith. No matter what they say, they try to say it's not. It is blind faith.
Appealing to their common knowledge, and then he says, "This Jesus God raised from the dead, to which we're all witnesses." And how did they react? They said, "We know you tell us the truth. What do we do?" And they repented, and the church was born. So there's Peter confirming. The next 4 sources are
corroborate each other. Especially the first three Gospels, and then the fourth one gets a little bit crazy and makes him
They're
God.
all written in context, so the authors were aware of the other ones. So
yes, well, they all could work off each other,
right?
And they could all look at Jewish scripture, they call it scripture, but prophecy, and say, "Hey, we're going to make it fit." And exactly, but their version of a Messiah is so different than what the Jewish one actually is. It was a political thing, and it becomes this religious resurrection thing.
Well, there's no clear one narrative of what the Messiah would be. There were different ideas about it, and most of the Jews at the time were looking for that political leader. They were not looking for the suffering servant. That was a minority viewpoint within.
They wanted someone to conquer Jerusalem. The Messiah was
tangible,
going to
real
conquer.
results, tangible results. They could see, not vague promises. Oh, I will come back in a few thousand years and I'll finish all that stuff.
Someone who will get land. And you could say that, well, he eventually got it done because Christianity spread and you conquered. But it's like, all right, but he's been dead. He's been long dead for a very long time. And it was people with their swords who did that. They're the ones who spread the religion, just like they spread to Constantinople. It's now called Istanbul. So,
John, the four Gospels, or 9 appearances in those 4 Gospels of the risen Jesus. And there's a lot of good reasons to believe that those Gospels contain the truth about what Jesus' life, teachings, miracles, death, and resurrection. But then we have 2 sources outside the Bible. We have writings by people who sat directly under the teachings of the eyewitnesses themselves. So, for instance, Clement, he was ordained by Peter himself. And he wrote a letter to the church in Philippi in the very first century where he talked about the confidence the apostles have about Jesus being the Son of God because of the resurrection that they had been eyewitnesses to.
So this is a third-hand source?
And then Polycarp. Polycarp was appointed by John to be bishop at the church at Smyrna. And he wrote a letter in which he mentions the resurrection no fewer than 5 times and says the apostles, where do they get their confidence from the resurrection of Jesus?
Yeah, they believed in the resurrection. They believed that it was real. We know that. We know they believed it. Doesn't mean it's a true belief.
People die for a lie all the time, but you know what might be just as true, James? They die for something being wrong. Not intentional. They really do believe it, and they die. You know how we know this? People died on 9/11 thinking that they were the good guys, like actually killing people, and they thought that they were doing morally good things. That's the only reason to do it, right? You don't get on the plane to die thinking you're the bad guy, which is a weird statement, James. Like, is that not the best sell for how evil religion is?
No, they thought they were doing the right thing. They were doing the Lord's work.
Really did.
And
like,
even today,
spoke a different language, same shtick.
But even somebody like Mr. Batman, like going up to a gay couple and harassing them and berating them, being a dick, he thinks he's doing the Lord's work in that impact.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's doing the exact
same thing. It's the same. The guy, the Westboro Baptist Church, when
thought
they
he was
go
doing good.
Exactly,
good.
And they protest the funeral of dead soldiers, and they say that they are burning in hell for being, what they normally call me. Exactly. They think they're doing good. That's how sick religion is. They're an insidious organization, and I say
and they
organization.
Actually believe it. They really believe it.
Well, they believe it.
Yeah.
And the worst thing about them is that they are a bunch of lawyers, and what they want you to do is get upset at them and do something so they can sue you and all that kind of stuff. But
pass a law that denies them the right to protest, and then they can sue you for
Yes,
infringing
they
on
or throw a slushie at them or something, and then they're baiting.
check their browser history and find out they've been on their grinder.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's just like Ted Haggard is completely heterosexual. Let's get back into it.
It's because they know that he returns from the dead. So that's 9 ancient sources inside and outside the New Testament, confirming and corroborating the conviction of the disciples that they encountered the risen Jesus. That is an avalanche of historical data.
Jay, you talk about how
is it, or was it just a bunch of people claiming that they saw the resurrection, and that not being a scientific
people believing
experiment?
those claims?
Yes,
people believing those.
Not even firsthand.
Yeah.
You were trained in forensic statement analysis as part of your
Here's the other. I used to be an atheist.
Tools to be able to determine, who done it.
Right.
So how does that apply to the witness statements in the gospel about Jesus?
Well, so every word matters in forensic statement analysis, not just the words you might say, but the words you could have said but chose not to. So I'm looking at options. So I'm always looking at the words that are optional words that don't need to be said. So for the most
cold case detective. That is interesting. Okay.
part, adjectives and adverbs are optional words. You never need to use them. So if I have a clicker for my computer and I tell you, okay, this is my gray clicker, what am I really telling you? I'm telling you I have more than one clicker. Because why am I using the optional word gray?
Because I have too many clickers.
I don't need that word.
This is my beautiful wife. Does that mean you have another wife? Or, I mean, by that, this is my lovely wife. Oh, do you have a wife that's not lovely? I mean,
like, I both understand what it's saying, but it can easily be manipulated, just like you're doing.
It's not black and white. Like, oh, there must be. I mean, you can read into it, but realize that it's not definitive.
Who knows how many I have, but this one's the gray one. So when you're examining the words that people use and how they compress time and extend time and how they use personal pronouns, how am I describing you? How are you describing me? That tells you something about the intent of whoever is talking. I just took that process and I applied it to the Gospels and looked for those words that would give away a perspective, perhaps.
And you were able to tell that a man resurrected from the dead 72 hours after death. That's impressive, detective.
Like, for example, in early history, there's a church father named Papias who says that Peter was preaching in Rome and that Mark was...
Also, I love detective stories. So as someone who, it's hard to roast him too hard as someone who could quite possibly like something that he writes, nonetheless.
Yeah, real crime, true crime drama. It's interesting.
I love me also a Batman, just to tie it back to a geeky thing.
His scribe was sitting at his feet listening to Peter's preaching, and from that he wrote the Gospel of Mark. Okay, so I said, if that's true, I should find Peter's fingerprints in the Gospel of Mark forensically. So that was one of the very first things I started to do, is to look and see if I could trust that this was really from Peter. Because who's Mark? Mark was not an eyewitness. Why should I trust?
No one. Oh, wait. Actually, we don't know that. Never mind.
Yeah, they weren't the actual. They were anonymous. They just.
I still get people who will argue with me with that, and you go.
Oh, Mark wrote Mark. Matthew wrote Matthew. Luke wrote. No, I'm sorry.
Yes,
that's not.
Luke was Luke.
That's not true. Luke was Luke.
No.
Luke.
And it's not even an atheist position. This is the Christian position. Your father. Yes, but go pick up most Bibles and it will tell you this. My lordy.
Well, maybe he's scribing for an eyewitness. Well, how would I know that? Look at it forensically. So a lot of it for me was trying to figure out, number one, did this really happen? Are these really eyewitness accounts? Number two, could I test them in a way to make sure they haven't had facts added or additional details added?
No,
like, how do I know these are the same stories that they were originally there in the first century? That kind of thing. How early were these written? I needed to know that kind of stuff before I could step off and say. And by the way, that does not give you belief in Jesus. That just gives you belief that
in the credibility of the eyewitness.
Yeah, just gives you.
So James, there must be something that's about to be coming that just must boom. That just starts that avalanche towards Jesus. It has to. He's such a rational, logical person. Sherlock
I'm on my
Holmes over
grunt mode,
here.
Yeah. Inspector
I
Clouseau.
listen to these people who say that they're eyewitnesses, and is this lining up, and is there credibility here?
That's right.
And then you talk about how you need to actually determine whether or not the explanation they're giving for the events is the most believable explanation that
Yes.
Jesus really did rise from the grave. That's a difficult one to believe. And you talk about and expand on this for us. Feasibility, straightforwardness, and exhaustiveness.
Yeah, okay, so this is about objective reasoning, right? We do this for every jury.
Well, how about this, Amy? How about this? Like the gospel, because the gospel accounts, they contain lots of accurate things in history that we can verify. Like in 2030, right? There's going to be a census in the United States, right? That's how they allocate money and everything. So of course we all have to go back to the city where we were born. I have to go back to Miami so I can be counted down there before I can move back up to Palm Beach County, because they want to know where I was born, right? And of course, the Bible tells us that when the Romans did census, you all had to go back. Everybody in the world had to go back to where they were born, because that, of course, makes logical sense. That's how you would do a census.
Yes, that makes sense. You do a pilgrimage. Pretty sure that's how it works.
You want to know where they were 20 or 30 years ago. Oh, where were you 20 or 30 years ago? So you move back, and then we'll count you. Yeah. Very, very logical. It makes a lot of sense.
Version of what we think happened. And so the defense may offer a version. You've got to
two different explanations,
That's
same
right.
facts, different explanations.
That's right. So what I always say, you make two lists.
Bring
One's
it
a
on
list of all the evidence. The other is a list of all the explanations.
defense.
And then you're referring back and
Either
forth
way.
between your evidence and explanations, crossing out the explanations that don't really work.
Yeah.
Given the evidence. I did
Yeah.
the same thing with the resurrection. Look,
Mhm.
there's certain data points we could look at.
It must have been such a strong data point that led you to the resurrecting rabbi. Let's get it.
What do you believe is really true? At the very minimal data points. Yes, that Jesus lived, that maybe he died on a cross, that people said he rose from the grave. Well, then how do I explain that phenomena? Well, there's like 7 ways to explain it, and 6 are not Christian.
Yeah, one
ways.
is it's a
He's
legend.
lying about it.
He's
Right.
I love that, James, because again, it's like you want to establish credibility. Oh, it could be so much other things before we even get to Jesus. Exactly. Insanity.
They could be mentally ill. They could be lies.
Lying about
They
it. Church
imagined
fathers
it.
later
Yeah,
made the
okay.
whole story up.
Exactly. So I looked at
Or-
all those and just said, okay,
Yes.
what makes the best sense? Now, every explanation
All of those before you get to a god. Literally all of them
Rising
make
all-
more sense.
They're all more plausible than the resurrection.
strengths and weaknesses. This is true even when I have the true defendant in a trial. Yes, my case is strong, but it has weaknesses. Well, this is true for even the truth. So the Christian explanation, I think, is by far the strongest, but it has a weakness. It requires a resurrection to occur. And for me, that was a step too far. I was a
James, again, he just a step too far. In fact, he's a
philosophical naturalist.
And, you know, that made him naturally skeptic. Just like you and I, James. Come on, he was one of us.
I mean, you wouldn't be able to believe it like the resurrection without
Hold on one second.
Hold
on one second, James. Okay, now start talking. You were lagging.
I said, well, you know, he's a philosophical naturalist. He's not believing something without good evidence, without a rational reason to believe that it has to be strong.
The things in the Bible that don't require a miracle.
Yeah.
But once we get to miracle stuff, I'm out. But then I had to ask myself,
just like our deist, you know, founding fathers. But, you know, once he got to...
why I simultaneously was investigating the evidence in the universe. Do I have good reason to believe that there is a God that is capable of a miracle before I start reading the Gospels? And if you look at the evidence in the universe, the fact
there is ample evidence for
the fact that we are in a universe that has a beginning already forces us outside of space, time, and matter to look for the cause of space, time, and matter.
That's right.
That's not my claim.
That's a loaded statement. That's
Can I also just point out...
Those are loaded lines of thought.
And this is what gets him to Jesus. This very specific reason. This whole, there was a beginning, that is the Big Bang, which physics says is the same as Genesis, which I don't know how physics really ties that together at all. Pretty sure the Bible actually has two different tellings of what happened, two different orders in which things come about. One in which
Because
light.
you have the Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
No, go ahead. Oh, you have the
Oh
Yahweh.
no, it's just
and
they
the
get the
priestly
order
source,
wrong, and you have
each
light
writing-
coming second.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or light
But
coming
you have
first.
two
You have light
authors.
coming first. Sorry, we're lagging. Might be me too. I apologize, but you said there might be two authors.
Got it.
Stupid Satan. What's up,
Got it,
MD? Sending so much love, and it's right. A book said a thing. It is true. That tends to be one of their best arguments. You know, a book said a thing. James, didn't you know that it's actually written? It says so in a book. What's up, Victoria? What's up, everybody?
Oh,
Sending
boy.
so much love.
Here. She's here.
But we are skeptic and ranting on you won't believe how many non-biblical sources confirm the resurrection.
How many?
And
many
so
have we
far,
got?
we're at...
Oh,
In Genesis 1. But it's a claim of cosmologists. The standard cosmological model is still Big Bang cosmology, that everything, all space, time, and matter, came from nothing. Now, whether you accept or reject that.
No, I do reject
Oh,
that.
boy.
That's not what it says. It says that it all came from a singularity. A singularity is not nothing. It's actually everything.
Nothing.
They love that word. I know. Amber, it's what sending so much love, Victoria. They love that word, nothing, and theists use it the most. And what the great irony is, half the time they're using that word, they're telling us that that's what we believe. That's true. We're still in the singularity. It's just expanding.
As an atheist, that was my view. That I believed that the evidence demonstrated that everything in the universe came from nothing. Well, hold on then. So how do I explain that?
Wrong.
I need a cause. The only question is the cause personal or impersonal?
Yeah.
And why would you go personal? that is
So here we
another
go
thing.
to this.
Because there's many atheists who will grant Kalam. Because they're basically like, well, it doesn't get you to a God, it gets you to this first force. All right, now defend God being that first force. And they never can. I do not understand why it would be this personal brain, mind, cares what we stick up our you-know-where, James, and cares who you date and I date. Like, cares who we believe in, what we believe in. Do you know what I mean? Like... And he got all this from the Big Bang. This is the avalanche.
In her mouth. Oh.
And you know that's sodomy. Even if I was a biological woman, that would still be sodomy.
It's still technically a sodomy.
We're all sodomites, ladies and gentlemen.
Basically.
Let me tell you.
Well, except
If you
except for Jesse Lee Peterson, because he's not down with women putting that in their mouth.
Job.
If it's a personal meaning, then the most amazing miracle in Scripture is Genesis 1, from nothing.
No. Why? And he just said it. If you're putting this together, that the Genesis miracle is the only thing that explains the Big Bang origin. Why? He just made that decision, James. Like, do you notice that slippery avalanche, which is like he spends like a good minute or two just backing up how sane and rational he is? Come on now. I'm sane, just like you.
I'm not
Exactly.
looking for miracles. I'm not a miracle guy.
But then once I, head towards this ultimate answer, well, the only thing that makes sense is Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. You're like, what? Okay.
What? Hey, hello?
Feel like you missed a step or two, but okay.
All the New Testament miracles are small potato miracles compared
That's
to
right.
Genesis 1. So I just knew I had to read that text with an open hand.
That's such a good point. You also,
I mean, at that point, though, you are also defending the Old Testament. And I'll tell you, James, my favorite expression from Christians, that's just the Old Testament. But, you know, they like some parts
No,
of
the
it.
prequels
Ten
are never as
Commandments.
good. The prequels are never as good as the original.
Yeah. Well, they at least accept the prequels, because remember, if you're a sequel, you're never accepted. You can't be Islam. You can't be Mormon. But if you're the prequel, you're only accepted some of the time.
You're in canon.
Yeah,
You're in canon. They're in canon.
But when you're, you know, if something changes, then well, this is how the story goes now. The God is actually kind of a nice guy. He went through therapy, James. He's not this evil war god.
He smokes a joint every once in a while, you know.
Exactly. Just
he
mellows
pops
out.
a Xanax. He pops a Xanax. He's not a dick anymore.
He's chill. Now, of course, he burns everyone forever if you don't believe in him. But I love the Christians that'll argue with us for that. You're not actually burning, James. You're just going to be removed. What's remove mean?
Well, actually,
you're not going to exist. So you mean just dead? Well, yeah.
Well, actually, Amy, for people like you who hate God, being sent to hell is actually it's a mercy, because
blessing,
being in God's presence would be just so horrible and terrifying to you that you would much rather be in hell. It's an act of mercy.
Burn.
Yes, it's an act of mercy.
Yes. James, these are cults. And I mean it. I don't mean it as the insult word. And I know it'll just be taken that way. And I love you if you're a theist. But let's get back to it.
Also talk about the need for the explanation of the facts. We're talking about the Gospels again, and cold case.
Oh no! See, I'm sending love out there. I see I see a specific theist in chat. Now I just feel bad because I don't want to hurt his feelings specifically. But I love them. All right. I just personally think that these beliefs.
We love you guys.
Exactly.
We love our good born-again Muslims.
He's such a mensch. You are a mensch.
He is. Yeah.
Yes, okay. It's just these beliefs. And I get it. You know, this guy is wearing a nice outfit. You know, these are probably perfectly well-functioning members of society. It's right. He's got no problem with hair going on here. They're just wrong. But I love them. Just love them. Here.
Homicides to also be an explanation that is logical and is superior to the.
See, like the beard looks good here, especially with this type he's got going on. He could look like a logger kind of guy. He's pulling off the
lumberjack,
the lumberjack look. If he starts to make me breakfast with maple syrup, I'd be okay with it.
Other explanations,
yeah.
But the resurrection is not, it defies logic as we think of it naturalistically.
Yes, but it's
I love this. This few seconds of conversation is them having the only self-awareness of the whole thing. And they're like, look, okay.
Not logical.
We know this isn't logical, but
logically consistent. If you know there's a being outside of space, time,
then exactly. Once you believe a being outside time and space, then everything just pops into sync, James. Well, yeah. If you believe a guy could do anything, then any religion that you believe is a go. Sure, why not? He can do anything.
That could enter. Yeah, now it's within the range of reasonable, because you've already, and that's why, I think there's actually 8 attributes of the universe that can only be explained by a personal being outside of space, time, and matter. So once I got to that point, I thought,
But see, this is what I mean. He's coming full circle though. It really is the Big Bang, which makes no sense to me. Then this is why you have to push back against deistic arguments. For like seriously, I love deists. Okay, most deists are on team atheist anyway. They're on team skeptic, team natural philosopher. That's who gave us this country. But the deistic arguments are made for atheists. They are made for skeptics. The contingency argument is not made to convince Muslims who already believe in Islam. It is to convince skeptics because it allows them to use philosophical jargon, which oftentimes, has its place. Are we thinking about our ontology? Are we trying to think about our existence? Nonetheless, they are trying to use that sophistication towards a lay audience to convince atheists to be deists, to be insert whatever religion that they want. Muslim, presuppositional Christian, which tends to be either Catholic or a warm form of Protestantism.
Good night, Davegar.
Good night, Davegar. That's right. Happy Easter. Happy Passover. What I'm really trying to say is I wish everyone a happy chocolate night, whatever your chocolate is. I do love a good Reese's egg.
The Cadbury cream egg.
Yeah, they're good. That's what deletes presups. Presups are funny because there just seems to be an arrogance that comes with being a presup. I don't know what it is, but they are all assholes. Very
reasonable.
Few. Yeah. It seems like it comes with the shtick is you have to berate people. You have to try and treat them like you're in a prosecution or defense. You're a lawyer trying to,
I'm asking the questions here, Newman.
That's right.
You don't ask me questions. I'm asking you questions. I'm the teacher. You're the student here.
Exactly. There's that's why I don't think that they have a lot of fans except for like a very specific niche community, which is, the other Christians that like that sort of thing. Yeah, they were born with knowledge. We should just presuppose it. We all believe the same thing, and it's what they think. And to do anything else is to deny it. That's why I love sending love to Taco.
Well, that's like what's that like Curry who says like we all believe, we all know, we all have the vision,
Exactly, which is
he fixes our dental problems from here. He heals our cavities.
My favorite sending love to him is that one time he came on here just kind of defeated and deflated. Like
I remember
every Thanksgiving I go to, people just don't want to hear about the nukes anymore. And I'm just starting to think
we told him he could come on, but he couldn't prophesy. He could come on, but no prophesying.
You can't pretend that Fallout fan fiction is real. Can't just come on here and say the nukes are coming.
I'll just talk about the resurrection, but it's really not what I want to be here to do.
He doesn't really want to talk about Jesus because that's the boring stuff. Oh my God, the type of Christians we meet, James. Then again, like you were saying, I agree with your earlier statement. Like we could go into a pew. There could be 5 different people, and they all have 5 different theologies. And yes, Wesley, exactly who we're talking about. Sending love to Wesley, one of our favorite prophets. I only think my other favorite prophet, I like what was the preacher. There's another. I like the preacher because Perry has a very low ego, and I like a guy that can commit 18 hours to studying the good book.
And you can ask my wife. She's right here. You can ask her if what I'm saying is true.
Say it. Yeah. Say it, wife. Say it's true.
Yeah, it's really true. Everything he's saying is true. He's got his family held captive.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, we're coming into the end game. Just a few more rounds, but we are really getting some unbiblical sources for the resurrection, like apparently the Big Bang.
But okay, now I need to read the Gospels through that lens a little differently.
What evidence do we have today that gives us confidence that the
you're my dad.
resurrection is a historical fact?
Oh.
So there's at least 20 to 21 arguments for the empty tomb.
And I am not going to go through any of those, but let's just,
Cumulatively make a powerful
Hashtag
case.
empty tomb. It's
One
a
of
meme.
the most
It's
compelling.
not an argument. It's a meme.
Also, just sending love out there. There was no empty tomb. Jesus was most likely thrown in a mass tomb. But, funsies.
Is in regards to who discovered the empty tomb. Now, all four Gospels
Here we go.
report that women discovered the empty tomb.
Okay, I dislike this apologetic the most of all of them.
Yes.
Muslims do the same shit. They're like, listen, I know this religion doesn't make any sense, but you have no idea how illiterate Muhammad was. And you're like, excuse me? And you're like, no, just hear me out. Muhammad was so illiterate. And you go, okay, how illiterate was he? And he goes, he was so illiterate, he wrote this whole book or got this whole book done. And you're like, what? And they're like, that's right. He can read a goddamn thing. And yet he made this book or he got this book and he was able to spread it. And you're like, I feel like you're insulting your own religion. And this, I get the exact same vibes. Is like, well, just let him do
like
it.
That's like the argument. I mean, we've had kids memorize the Quran. Oh, so you put them into schools where they read this stuff for 10 hours a day, every day, and actually memorize the shit. And that somehow means that it's true.
Yeah, that somehow means through memorization that it is from God. But really, I'm going to let him dig his own hole.
In our modern culture, and we don't think twice about it. But in that patriarchal culture, a woman was typically not educated the same way as a man. In fact, there's some ancient Jewish proverbs, not in the scriptures, that says, better the words of the law burnt than delivered to women. They were looked down upon. And so put yourself in the position of the gospel writers. If they're inventing...
you're not going to say a bunch of women saw him resurrect.
Who would believe that? Nobody would believe that.
And they want to convince people that this is true. Who are the least likely witnesses they would invent, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, to be persuasive? And the answer is they obviously wouldn't invent women. That would...
James, it's like low bar misogyny.
Yeah.
And ignorance and stupidity. But that's really just three redundant words for the same thing.
Be counterproductive. So the reason they report women, the most likely reason, is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John heard a story that they believe. And
like we even confused the... That's right. That's right. They wouldn't let women be... Come on now. So this is evidence.
I mean, Jesus did not allow... Listen, there were no vaginas allowed in his discipleship.
No vaginas allowed.
On what they think is true. So that's one reason that it's kind of called the criterion of embarrassment, that people don't invent material
Pretty sure he made that criterion up, but maybe
intentionally embarrass themselves and disparage their message. So when writers include that, it's because they care more about truth.
If that's the case, then why did anybody believe it, right? If nobody would believe women, well, the gospel said women did it, so why didn't anybody actually believe it? Why didn't they just discard the gospels and get to the point where they said women found the empty tomb? That's so stupid. Who would believe that?
They all believe women.
Yeah. No, actually, apparently people did believe it.
Yeah.
truth than the perception. So women discovering the empty tombs is very, very significant. There's more than this. Another one I think is interesting is that Jesus was buried in Jerusalem. Now, what's interesting about this is if you're going to go invent a story.
Is that okay?
That's not true. The hardest place to do this would be in Jerusalem.
Why?
Because somebody would say, okay, wait a minute. We actually know Joseph of Arimathea. We know the name of the person who had the tomb that buried Jesus. That's pretty amazing 2,000 years later. And his position of authority. They just go check his...
Again, we don't know where his body specifically. We think it was a mass grave, and yet I would be very interested.
Anyway.
Well, I was going to say in James's mythicist. So, well, I'd like to see any evidence for this.
His tomb and see if the body was there. But they don't. Why? Because the body's gone. So the apostles preach the risen Jesus in Jerusalem.
The body being missing is also a strange apologetic. It's because it tries to make non-evidence evidence.
Well, did you know that, when they went into most of the pyramids and opened up the pharaoh's sarcophagus, the bodies were gone? Did they all raise from the dead? Well, no, their bodies were stolen at some point.
Yeah, that makes way more sense than raised to heaven. But,
all those pharaohs must have rose from the dead. Well, that's why the finding of Tutankhamun's tomb was so amazing, because it was the first time they found one that hadn't been completely looted yet.
The very city Jesus was publicly crucified and buried in a known tomb minimally shows incredible confidence that the tomb itself was empty. That's a second one. I'll give you a third one as quickly. It's the first.
Don't understand. Again,
they could have just gone in and took the body out and said, "Oh, he rose from the dead. His body's not here." That's not good evidence.
But again, I mean, come on. There's 22. This is the third best. All right, let's hear the third best.
First explanation for the empty tomb is that the religious leaders say that the apostles stole the body. That's the explanation.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
They stole the body. What are they assuming about the state of the tomb?
Yep, yes it does.
That it's empty.
That it's empty, right? You don't say to your teacher
that it's empty. Oh my goodness.
No, because it's such a stupid point. You don't argue the point. Because who cares if it's empty? Who cares if it's empty? They could have stole the body.
Because this is the way they make it. They say, if it's empty, therefore he resurrected from the dead. Not how that works.
So we don't have to argue about whether it's empty or not. Even if it's empty. Okay, even if it's empty, assuming that. They could have took the body. That's more logical than a resurrection.
My dog ate my homework if you have your homework. So the first explanation from the religious leaders is the apostles stole the body, which shows that the body was gone and the tomb was empty. Now, we could talk about whether or not it's reasonable for the apostles to steal their body. And I mainly think it's not reasonable because, number one, they had to get by the guard. But number two, why would they go out and...
Not a guard.
there was a guard there. Oh, my gosh. It actually did happen. It happened where people were put on the cross, and it could take a day sometimes to die, where they actually were left there. And there's a few cases mentioned where the family actually got up and took the person off the cross, and
Can I tell you? I ask this question all the time. I ask Christians, if you were to go back in time and you were to see Jesus, would you take him off the cross? James, can I tell you, I'm pretty sure I've never, I'm 99% sure that I have gotten the same answer every time. You know what that is?
No.
Absolutely not. He's our savior, the sacrifice for which our sins will be paid.
Maybe that would be like going back in time and you can't change something because everything keeps happening. That would be like where you try to take him off, but you can't. Like your ladder collapses, you try to save him, but the universe conspires against you because you can't take him off the cross because he needs to die.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of, movies and books that have gone around this that have been, even Marvel has people that they call like anchor characters or something. They're people that in the multiverse have to exist for everything
Right.
to work and things like that. But they're just plot devices. So I'm open, but we just need good evidence. All right, we're about to hit the last person, and then
the
we'll
ending.
open up for like 30 minutes of what's it called? Open mic, unless people who disagree with us come in which I'll continue to say, well, maybe we'll stay on for the next 6 or 7 days. But let's get into the end game.
Die for something if they stole a body and knew it was false. So I think when we start to piece some of these things together, there's reasons why some of the greatest journalists, greatest historians, greatest lawyers, and thinkers of all time have stopped and been like, wow, there's a powerful case that Jesus lived, died, buried, and appeared to people on the third day.
Lee, much of the evidence about the claims of Jesus.
God help us. I did so much love, MD. Lovely to have. Can I pin that? I can't pin it. Oh, well, I'll just show it up here.
Well, I mean, Jim Jones, like, why would all those followers of his drink the Kool-Aid and die just because he said they had to die? I mean, they believed he was a messianic figure because they believed he was a prophet.
They actually believed him.
And they believed him. People will die if they believe that it's right that the person they're serving is a real prophet or messianic.
I think they also shot the people who had.
Some of them did. Some of them did. Yeah.
Nonetheless, there were lots of true believers.
There were lots of them who did it voluntarily.
Jesus, including his resurrection, comes from accounts within the Bible itself.
Right.
So those writers of the Bible are biased, aren't they?
Good question. For me, when I investigated as a skeptic, as an atheist, the ancient evidence.
Oh, it's all 3 of them, James. Oh my goodness. I get this video. All 3 of them have now pulled the as an atheist. We have 2 I was an atheist and 1 I was a naturalistic
philosophical naturalist.
Philosophical naturalist. Thank you. So, but say same in philosophical realm.
This resurrection. I did not give the Bible any special credence. I didn't consider it to be inerrant, inspired, the Word of God. I do now, but I was a skeptic then. But I had to accept the pages of the New Testament for what it undeniably is, which
myth.
Is a set of ancient historical writings. And just as you can investigate
historical fiction
writing, you can take those investigative techniques and apply them to those pages to try to determine, is it telling me the truth? Now,
this guy, like 500 years from now, will believe that Batman and Superman were real. They were real. They were real people. They were real.
I mean, New
crime
York
fighters.
Is real, right, James?
Gotham City. It's based on New York. Clearly,
There you go.
Authors are biased. Well, anybody who reaches a conclusion based on their experience and what they see and what they know to be true is going to have a point of view. And but we can look at sources that go beyond the Bible, and we can see confirmation of many of the key and salient points about the life teachings, miracles, death, and resurrection of Jesus.
And the story of Saul.
I got one last compliment for Kirk, and then we'll roll into the ending here. But and maybe someone dresses him, who knows? I appreciate a man who can do some matching. I like that the boots and the shirt kind of match here. Yes, I can appreciate that. Sending love to the bots trying to sell us members on Twitch. That's not really. Ask Kent Hoven. It doesn't work. But continuing onward.
All of Tarsus.
Yes.
Oh, actually, just sending love to everyone watching. We are Skeptic Ranting, and you won't believe how many non-biblical sources confirm the resurrection. James, how many so far?
None yet. Maybe you're saving the best for last.
Yeah, exactly.
Who was persecuting and killing Christians, rounding them up and exterminating them. Why in the world would he reverse course and now become one of the most important followers of Christ and write 2/3 of the New Testament? What was in it for him if that was?
He gets to be the creator of a religion, one of the most revered people in the religion besides Jesus himself. Sorry, James, you're saying?
No, maybe he legitimately admired their resolve and their determination of these people. Maybe he had sympathy for them and actually started to identify with them. That's entirely possible. There were Germans who helped out Jews and other people persecuted in the 1930s and 40s who, they weren't one of those, but they had empathy and they had a shared humanity, and they decided that, they would help. And like you said, by doing that, he became one of the most central figures to the religion. He became the apostle for the Gentiles, one of the most. He went from just a lowly public official to, one of the key figures in a new religion.
Good upgrade.
Yeah, wasn't true.
That's exactly right. I mean, if you remove the resurrection, there's no motivation that makes sense to turn Saul of Tarsus into Paul the Apostle.
You can't find
a. He tripped balls and saw a different prophet of a different religion.
He saw something.
Exactly.
Yeah, he saw. So he could have hallucinated. Who knows? We weren't there, but it doesn't mean he saw an actual Jesus.
Doesn't mean it was really God.
What about this, Lee? Some would say that the accounts of Jesus written in the Bible were written decades after those events occurred.
Yeah.
You're talking 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later. These guys are writing about what Jesus said and what Jesus did. Is that too much time to go by? I mean, I have a hard time remembering what my wife told me to get at the grocery store last night. If you're
but no, it's okay because God helped them remember.
Now, could they have?
And I like this apologetic. I'm not going to ruin it. Let me say it first. Yeah.
Misremembered the stuff that happened?
That's a good question. J. Warner Wallace, who you may know, is a cold case homicide investigator, was an atheist.
We know him.
The evidence. And one of the things he told me, he said, Lee,
just had him
on. What did you do last August 12th? I have no idea what I did last August 12th. What did you do on August 12th, 1982?
Did you suck?
I have no idea what I did on August 12th, 1982. What did you do on August 12th, 1972?
Who did you do?
I can tell you the whole thing. I can go through the whole day because that's the day I got married. And so when something amazing.
But I understand the point you're trying to make. That doesn't compute when you're writing 2 decades, 3 decades, 4 decades after an event.
Fiction.
No, it's actually, you're a less reliable source if you are writing about your wedding night than if you were writing about your wedding night on the actual night that you were being married.
Right. You're going to remember less. Even though you'll remember a lot, you won't remember as much.
His point is valid. It doesn't apply to the point that he's trying to make. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No.
Thing happens to you, life-changing, like a resurrection, like someone walking on water, like someone turning water into wine.
Because if this was something that was so profound, Amy, that happened, it just happened. Of course you would, you would sit on it for 30 or 40 years and then decide, I'm going to write about that stuff that happened. I'm going to write about that stuff that happened back. Remember that Jesus guy and all that stuff he did like 50 years ago? Let's write all that down. Yeah, of course. Or was it waiting enough time, putting it in the past that, you couldn't really, it was not falsifiable. You couldn't really confirm whether these events happened or not at the time because it's 50 years later. It'd be very hard to prove that the events didn't take place.
And Paul, that's being generous. Paul truly was 50 years afterwards. Right?
Yeah. Something extraordinary. You remember that. And so that would be true of the.
But then, again, and I'm sorry, I keep on harping on this one part. It doesn't matter Paul was never there. So, like, it doesn't matter how amazing of a memory it could have been. He wasn't there to have that memory. All right, let's continue forward. Let's land this plane.
Disciples. Now, keep in mind that they wrote the New Testament, the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, within a generation. And
only within a generation.
This historian said that the passage of 2 generations of time is not even enough for legend to grow up and wipe out a solid core of historical truth. So this is within the parameters of being reliable, historically speaking. But here's the kicker. This is what, more than anything else, brought me to faith. We have some information preserved for us that can be dated back so early you cannot write it off as being a legend. Because we know the Apostle Paul was Saul of Tarsus, a persecutor of Christians. 1 to 3 years after the death of Jesus, he's on the road to Damascus. He has this encounter with the risen Jesus. He becomes the Apostle Paul. Immediately, he goes into Damascus, and he meets some apostles. Many people believe this is when he was given a creed, an eyewitness-based creed.
I love that. I actually saw that band live, even though they are a little Christian-y. But it was Creed and
Cradle of Filth, Puddle of Mud,
3 Days Grace, 3 Doors Down, 3 Doors Down, 3 Doors Down. Good times. Saw Kryptonite live. It was a good time. I'm gonna see Linkin Park live. Oh my goodness, and Grandson. Next month.
Next month, okay.
Woo!
Of the early church that he later sent to the church in Corinth. Other people say it was 3 years later when he went to Jerusalem and he met with 2 eyewitnesses, Peter and James, who were named in this creed as eyewitnesses to the resurrected Jesus. But either way, this means within 1 to 6 years after the death of Jesus, a report about the resurrection was already in existence. The beliefs that make that up go back even earlier. So in other words, we have preserved for us in 1 Corinthians 15, starting at verse 3, a creed, an eyewitness-based creed of the earliest Christians. Right there.
I just keep on making Creed band jokes in my head every time he says Creed with so much, emphasis.
First century, it says that Jesus died. Why? For our sins. He was buried. On the 3rd day, he rose from the dead. And then it mentions the specific names of eyewitnesses and groups of eyewitnesses to whom he appeared. We can date that creed back to within months.
And that's helpful to us.
Jesus, one of the great historians,
very helpful to us.
James D.G. Dunn said, this creed, we can be entirely confident, was formulated as a creed within months of the death of Jesus. So there's no huge time gap between the death of Jesus and the later development of a legend that he rose from the dead. We got a news flash, goes right back to the beginning.
And I actually had a creed that actually went with arms wide open. What were we talking about? We had a joke during that concert that all 90s
went to a Creed concert?
started to. I did. I went to a Creed and a 3-day 3 Doors Down concert. And that all the 90s bands, they all had eventually this grunge like singer sound that was like, can't even do it. But
how many Nickelback concerts have you been to?
Oh, I haven't. Do you know how expensive Nickelback is? But I would go to it. Oh yeah, they're like $1,000 or something. But
they only have it in tiny venues.
Concert prices. Because everyone pretends that they don't like Nickelback, but
they show up.
But they show up. They're a lot of money. But I would go to a Nickelback concert. Pearl Jam. Yeah, exactly. It was the Pearl Jam effect. That's exactly what it is. Sending so much love. 99.95. Because you get a Nickelback. Is it hundreds, not thousands? Well, still, they're expensive. the Lincoln Park tickets we're getting are pretty expensive. And then we want to get what is that? Not a band. We might see Whose Line Is It Anyway? Good times. Because it's about to be the summer. Oh my goodness, James, it's about to be the summer. Nickelback
It is about to be the
Paterons,
summer.
I guess they are show. Ooh. But all right, James, I'm gonna run away for a second while I open it, and we'll. But I am starting a clock. Here's the clock, boys, girls, and everything in between, because I like to trigger the people that don't like. Oh, what happened? There we go. 30 minutes.
A clock of how many genders there are. It's a rolling clock.
Yes, exactly. Oh God, it's James. It triggers them so much, and I feel I want to say powerless, because then they go yes, ha ha ha. But it just sucks to like. They told me I'll keep on making the same speech. I sound like a broken record. Just chill, just relax, lay low. You're the topic of the day. It'll blow by.
Yeah.
Any day now, James. Any day. I mean, the fire will spread, but join the stream. Blah 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 blah. All right, I'm gonna pin that. I'm gonna hand it over to James for a second, but we got 30 minutes on the clock. Come one, come all. Sending extra special love so far to the Sinister Porpoise and MD, who have sent us love, and all the whole Skeptic and Ranting community for hanging with us. But James, I'm going to hand it back to you for a second. What do you think of all that wisdom? Are you convinced? Do you now believe that there's been many non-biblical sources to confirm the resurrection?
Yeah, well, I mean, for people who have been familiar with this question, of course, it's nothing really new. It's the same claims they've made all the time. I think we're all pretty familiar with those. The Josephus claims, the claims about certain aspects of the Gospels that they think indicate credibility. The fact that they said women were the ones who found the empty tomb. That would never happen if they were making it up. Well, they did, and apparently it worked. So apparently there was no problem with using women. People would actually believe the word of women. Apparently it happened. I don't know. So, but yeah, it's Easter today. Everybody will be going to the sunrise services soon. It's I'll be going to work soon. Hey, we got Trusted Ape in the back. We'll get you on. Amy will be back in a moment. I got Ember back there too. We'll get Ember back on momentarily when we get our pilot back. But yeah, Kirk Cameron had to do it. Had to name drop him. Had to do the video. It came up. This is what they're talking about. This is what Christians are talking about, the resurrection, because what they're actually trying to do is justify their faith to themselves, to try and reinforce their own beliefs in this religion, this cult that made it, that they're in. Josephus, he recorded that there were Christians in the first century, which is a well-known fact. We all know there were Christians in the first century. They existed. Nobody disputes that. Doesn't mean it's based on actual events that happened. Doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean it's real. It just means that there were people who believed it and thought so. There were lots of people who believed and thought things in the first century. Doesn't mean it's true. You having yourself a good time there, Ember. Ember is ready for Easter. I'll tell you what. But yeah, we had Good Friday the other day. Of course, the day celebrated that when Jesus was believed to have died. sacrificing himself to appease himself. So no, well, we reviewed a video of Christians claiming there were sources outside the Bible who claimed that to confirm the resurrection. We were evaluating their take. We were seeing what they had to say, seeing if we found it convincing. And of course, as typical, we did not find it to be convincing. We don't find the evidence to be strong for a resurrection. Found it to be quite weak. If you take the Gospels away, you're really not left with much. Even in terms of the existence of Jesus himself as a figure, if you take away the Gospels, you're not working with very much. I know that's a hill a lot of people don't like to die on, because who cares whether he existed or not. I personally think he didn't, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. Even if he did, that wouldn't prove he was God, wouldn't prove any of the miracle claims. But that is where I fall. I think Amy is kind of, she's in the, maybe not, but who cares? It still wouldn't prove that he's God. But if he didn't even exist, there would be one less question. We wouldn't even have to get to that question. And they did he mention the order of the Gospels? Mark, it's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but we know Mark was chronologically the first, the most basic gospel. Really includes, there's a lot of things Mark leaves out that the other writers expounded on. And we know, by the way, that they had access to Mark. They have read Mark, because you can tell that in their writings that they wrote it based on the book of Mark. Years later, as a matter of fact. So this was a narrative that created and constructed decades after Jesus had died. I'm sorry about that, Trusted Ape. Amy will be back on momentarily. I'm just trying to hold the line, but she'll be back on momentarily. Gospel accounts, written decades after. Why we would think that would enhance credibility. It doesn't. Written by anonymous authors. We actually don't know who wrote these Gospels. And there were, by the way, these are just the 4 that were picked. There were many other books that were floated around, that were being circulated at the time. There were many Gnostic Gospels, other Gospels that were rejected. So these were the ones whose message kind of conformed with what the church wanted their doctrine to be. But same thing with the Old Testament. There's books like the book of Jasher and Enoch that just went a little bit too far with the craziness that they left out of canon, because that says some pretty wild stuff. So we'll leave that out. It's a little too crazy. And then, of course, the Protestants took the Apocrypha out, which the Catholics maintain. So you can't even really say there's just one Bible, because there are several different versions of it. And they will debate and they will argue with you till they're blue in the face about which one is the best, which one is the most important. Got people like Ken Hovind, they're King James only. That's the best one. All the others are okay, but King James is the best. With the Amy Newman Bible.
Listen, I like my Skeptics Annotated, but I think we are going to start our open mic. We got 20 minutes. I'm going to get Ember on here. We are Skeptic and Ranting on You Won't Believe How Many Non-Biblical Sources Confirm the Resurrection. And we are going into our open mic. What is up, Ember? Welcome to Skeptic and Ranting. You won't believe how many non-biblical sources confirm the resurrection. Hope you are doing well. And what are your thoughts about the video or anything we were talking about tonight?
Oh, so many thoughts. The video, delightful.
Let them have it.
yeah, as y'all noticed, they had a lot of former atheists. Apparently, it's almost like it's part of the game.
A cadre,
for sure. Their citations, of course, very questionable. Extremely a little disappointing, you might say. But one thing that really stands out to me is the other sources that they could cite and don't. All the gospels that didn't get picked for the Bible.
There you go.
Because they're extra biblical sources that talk about the resurrection. Why aren't they in there? They list. It's almost like they're ashamed, which makes them true by the criteria of embarrassment, right?
It's an embarrassment of riches.
So we should include those other guys. We should make a counter canon. I don't know. I like the gospel.
Because if all the claims in those gospels are true, then I mean we've got just doctrine all over the place. We've got what's right, left, up, or down. Nobody knows.
Yeah, Jesus is both God and man at the same time. He's without sin, but young Jesus just straight up killed a guy. I mean, we kind of see that same element of Jesus in the canonical gospels where he curses the fig tree for being out of season. You know.
How dare you not, even though I'm God and I know that, how dare you not produce fruit out of season? And by the way, I'm God, so why can't I just make you conjure fruit? Make some fruit, grow figs. I mean, I can turn 3 fish and feed a crowd with it. I can spam fish out of my hands, but I can't make figs. I can't make a fig tree grow figs out of season. That's where I draw the line.
That's right. It's just maybe his mana was low. He needed the figs to make a mana potion.
It's true.
Like Uri Geller. Oh, I am not feeling strong today. My powers are not. When he had a chance to demonstrate his power, I'm not feeling strong today. I cannot do that today.
It's fair. It happens. It happens to the best of us. I remember I was trying to, heal an amputee last week, and I just didn't quite have the mojo, and so nothing happened. Weirdly enough,
I've had people try to do that to me because I have a small disability with my my nerve issues, but I've had guys try to pray to God to heal it, and then ask. Oh, is it better? Is it well, no, it's the same, but thank you anyway. I appreciate it. I appreciate the help, but no, it didn't have any effect.
It's a stereotype, but we have tons and tons and tons of thoughts and prayers in this country. We hand them out very easily. Just lots of thoughts and prayers.
It's true. Are there actual? I have to wonder when people say that. I believe them about the prayers because they do the thing. But are there thoughts? Do they actually think? I'm not convinced.
Are they capable of thought?
It's questionable. I know they can feel. They're very good at feeling. They can talk about what they feel. But do they ever what? Well, I suppose it gets into the philosophical ground of what is a thought? Does a thought have to be critical in order to count as a thought? Or is it just like the articulation of a mental state? Is it just, a facilitated telepathic communication by way of audio translation?
Or a way just to get things at McDonald's.
Could be that too. I'm very tired, so my words are behaving in strange ways.
Oh no, you're fine.
I feel you.
You're probably more coherent than both of us.
Definitely.
Debatable. I just did a debate review with Mark Reid. That's why he had to go to bed when we popped in. And
tell us about it. What was it?
Oh, it was a part 2. It was Ed Professor had just written a book regurgitating Aquinas's 5 proofs of God, the logical proofs, and Graham Oppie saying, "Really? Is that all you got?" And it was a weird debate. They got really, really philosophical, but it was also it gave Mark and I a lot of material to work with. I don't know about the audience, but we had a shit ton of fun with it.
I'm sure it was good then. If you guys are having fun, I'm sure they liked it.
Yeah.
But yes, go check that out because Ember and Mark both create awesome skeptical content. And Mark
Really
takes
solid
it to
atheists.
task.
Really
So
solid
that was probably
YouTubers. YouTuber Ember and YouTuber Mark Reid.
Oh,
Yes.
was it?
Remember the
business
30
card.
minutes? The 30 minutes you had to go back and forth with him on Discord about the title. No, it should be YouTuber, this capital, that capital, this apostrophe.
He was way too much of a diva. I think I gave in to like something, and then past that,
you
I
drew
was
the
like,
line.
no,
No, I'm not changing it again. I'm not obviously not serious. But
because I think he wanted me to put YouTuber. I'm like, you're putting YouTuber so and so on a YouTube video. Like, doesn't that imply that?
It's
Anyway,
tautological. Well, I suppose to distinguish himself from, professional truth seekers like J. Warner Wallace, I guess.
Truth seekers. I always like when they like
Warrior,
logical, probable, possible.
Warrior for Jesus, truth, God, good.
Yes, exactly. But yes. Oh, hold on one sec, just because we have 15 minutes. A quick shout out to any theists or creationists. Now's the time. If you want to join and tell us why God exists, right down there.
Lines are still open. Operators are standing by.
But James, I'm sorry, you were about to either ask
something. Say any other favorite Easter candy aside from the Cadbury eggs?
I'm still figuring out candy because for the longest time my teeth were very, very bad. I couldn't have anything really sweet or my teeth would explode on me. But now they're fake, so I can explore the wonders of the sugary goodness.
I was born with low enamel, so I can share with you there.
So what do you like? What that you've tried so far that piques your interest?
Well, there's so many different things. So some of the best impressions, I think, are the things that surprise me, stuff that I didn't like before, like white chocolate, for example. I despised white chocolate years and years ago when I could have it before, but now it's shockingly good.
See, white chocolate's one of those that I'm okay with. It's better than dark chocolate is healthier, and so it's always lower on my list.
Don't eat chocolate
milk
for
chocolate
health.
is exactly. That's why milk chocolate reigns, king and queen to me because it's the most unhealthiest.
Yeah.
You fill it with peanut butter, it's the best.
Oh,
I eat way too much candy. Way too much candy. And I'm doing this just because I know that they bought this for me today, but it'd be like someone just having this many Twix bars. Okay, that's that many. So that's for the whole household.
Where do they get that?
Like I'm a diabetic. Costco.
Yeah.
Sam's Club. Are we Sam's Club? I think we're Sam's Club now.
Well, the femboy can have one if he does all his chores.
Can I tell you? You have no idea how true that is because that's his favorite. That's why that's part of the reason why he got it and why there's so many.
Well, that's nice.
So many
good.
You gotta reward your house femboy.
Gotta reward the house femboy.
Bait and not riding crop.
Yes.
How many riding crops are in that house?
We have a good amount of utensils, instruments.
Yeah. There you go.
Listen, you need to keep people perky. What are we talking about?
Were we doing a thing here?
We are skeptic and ranting. Look, we're heathens. Come. That's not permission, though. If you were looking, what are we talking?
No, if you
what's the safe
do it
word?
without permission,
safe word.
You will not get a Twix.
That's right. You will not get a Twix. Oh my goodness. You know who's not enjoying our program? The Amish. I don't know why I was thinking about the Amish randomly.
It's
But they're
probably accurate
religion,
though. Yeah.
isn't it? They're a demographic. I feel like we're not
It's a
getting
whole untapped market.
on that market. Exactly, James. We need to get
Our
on that.
demographics are really low in the Amish community.
It is true. That might mean we need to. I used to live not too far away from Amish. What the heck's the word? From Amish people in Pennsylvania. Good times. Hershey Park. They make great furniture, but they're a cult. That's where I was going. Cult. Sponsored by
They're a
cults.
cult.
But they make great furniture, James. So and Ember. So we actually accept them in our community. So it's okay. Somehow that makes things okay, especially if they make like great turkeys or things like that.
Yeah.
They're as a religious group, they are pretty benign. They don't really proselytize or
The
pretty much keep to themselves.
proselytization kind of low. The abusing their members kind of
Yes.
high.
They have a Mormon thing going on here. They don't want you to leave.
Is.
Yeah, but any speaking broadly for the community and Amish who wind up on our channels, we're happy to see you there.
Yes. And the chances are they're probably most... I say the same thing, and this is I stand by political for a second. The civilians and the lay people of everyone out there, it's all the leaders, because the leaders are always corrupt. They always know that it's a scam. Like Ket. Hi, Ket. I'm just kidding. You're not on YouTube anymore. Oh, good times.
Brett Keane.
Oh, Brett.
Dred's banned again.
Brett. Does he even do content? I used to have like this love-hate relationship trying to win Brett Keane back over, because I used to compliment him because he believed in Maltheism, but then he became kind of just a regular Christian.
He goes back and forth.
I haven't
He's
seen
cyclical.
anything from him in a while.
You haven't seen anything either.
He leaves, then he comes back. People get tired of him. They stop going to his channel, so he leaves for 6 months and then comes back. He found Jesus again, and they feel the need to be nice to him because he's coming back and give him attention. And
where was he hiding?
Maybe donate him some money. And when they stop paying attention to him, he leaves.
Just want to say 2 points. He's either in prison or under the bed. Those are the only 2 places that I can imagine Jesus being. Excuse me. Or my yoga teacher. That's what I'm hoping Jesus is going to be. Nonetheless, again, what were we talking about?
I thought he was an Uber driver.
Hopefully he's both. He can take me there and then train me. Oh,
we're gonna go all the way.
All the way. Oh my goodness. They have to do... That makes me think of that Chinese car that may take over for taxis. Tesla's trying to take over the Tesla market. I think Tesla is trying to take over a new taxi service in Texas. They're going to release self-driving taxis, but I'm hoping the Chinese version. Come on, CCP. I'm just kidding, American government. I love long live the 50 states of whatever.
Canada annexes faster.
Oh, I'm waiting for the war with Canada in South Park. Oh, my goodness. Luke lost a hand. Yeah, it's true. You never want to...
That's how you get to be Cool Hand Luke.
That's true. Now he only needs 1 glove. So
it's saving money.
What he's saving, exactly. What's up, Mannered Saves? What's up, everybody? probably gonna head out in 10 minutes unless someone disagrees with us.
I will anyway.
In which case, I will force James to stay on here.
I gotta work Easter. We
I'm
get
just
Easter off.
James, I'm so sympathetic, empathetic for you. When I worked at Walgreens, like, they treat holidays like it's war. And I feel bad for anyone on like the opposite side as a customer. They're like, "What do you mean? You treat me like you're at war?" All I'm saying is behind the counter, all right, at the morning meeting, they are just saying they're coming. And the times that the door is open, they say it begins. I'm just saying, just to sure you all know that.
Check your spears to make sure they're straight before the doors open.
Well, I went back when I used to work big box. That Black Friday, that was always a nightmare.
Yeah.
That was
Stand your ground.
At least it's not a major, like Christmas, Halloween. Oh my goodness! Though Easter's a big one. Easter hawks a lot of candy. That Easter bunny is a SLU. Again, I was gonna say this isn't warnings. No children show here, but sending so much love. Amber, James, any final thoughts before we wrap up? I can feel my mind melting.
Long myth.
I mean, the video did a pretty good job on melting minds. It's just why? And Kirk Cameron too. You know, just.
Well, the thing that gets me still is always when, like, I guess when Hollywood people, and I guess this is my own bias, but like when they just go all in Christian, I still get weirded out by Mel Gibson. I know that Mel Gibson would probably put me on a train, okay, somewhere to to a camp that helps me concentrate. But he's a good actor, and so I have this.
What about lately Russell Brand? What's going on with that mess?
God!
Yeah,
Russell Brand.
That Christian mess.
Can I tell you? And like, he to me, and I'm not saying I'm comparing him to Khalil, but I'm gonna do a fine line because there is something severely wrong with targeting children, especially targeting children that you are a safeguard with, and what Russell is being accused of. But what I'll say is common. The common thread is, oh, I did all these shitty things, especially to other people, but I found God. Can't we all just let it go now?
Jesus forgave me. Why can't you?
Jesus forgave me.
That's the thing. I was watching his video, and he wasn't strongly denying the accusations, but he was mostly saying, "Oh, I found
a better
God
person now."
So if I did bad things back then, I'm sorry, but I'm not that person anymore."
Yes, and so like I'm not trying to say there's no such thing as forgiveness in a secular world, but I do see this as a defense in a bunch of scumbags. Can I say that without getting sued? No, by all means, Ember.
Yeah, it's never the people who are already super Christian. Like, they will get caught and then their parishes will disown them and they'll go to jail and never be heard from again. Yes. It's always the people who used to be like fake centrists or some shit. They get into trouble and they get canceled and immediately turn hard right because they know the cultists will just let them be horrible people. Encourage it, in fact.
Exactly. Well, exactly. Almost they give them. I cannot English today. LeBlanc, a la carte. But they have this. I lost my complete point in trying to get my spelling. I remember 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where women would act giggly and bimbo-y around him and say inappropriate things to him, and he would have a point and he would look all suave. And it's just this weird thing where year by year he's had this slow turn more towards Christianity, more towards this like alt-right, this conspiracy towards anti-vaccine, towards this RFK. I said I wasn't going to say his name. Towards any person that ends in a junior or a senior or things like that, the anti-autism and all that kind of stuff. And like, it's just kind of weird. You went towards the people that would give you an audience and kind of give you this forgiveness narrative. But just like you said, if they had been that the whole time, it probably would have been chucked to the dogs or thrown in prison by now. But
yeah, well, it's to get back to that I used to be an atheist narrative. It's more compelling for the cultist when someone is converted and brought to the light, and now they're on their side and they're saved. Anyone can be saved.
He's been red-pilled. Gotta understand. He really understands. Oh my goodness! Sending so much love, Native Atheist, throwing $10. Woo-hoo! And I'm gonna dance. Do. I'm gonna spin. I was not that successful. That's okay. Sending so much love. Thank you, Native Atheist. And you're probably gonna be and they drop things. This is probably going to be the end. Is gravity. Oh my God, we're doing a Ken Hovind experiment. Oh my.
This is all Newton's fault.
It's all Newton's fault, you see? My fist was there.
Native.
Thank you so much, Native. And thank you, everyone. I don't think we have been convinced. I think that every time that James hears the words Josephus, an angel loses its wings.
Whenever people bring up Josephus, I go, what's the origin of that, though? And they never seem to get it. Like, you're quoting from ancient church sources, and you don't know what I mean when I say origin. Get the fuck out of here.
Yes, because they're pulling it from somewhere.
That Justin Mayer, the guy who gets killed for a cause. Justin
Bieber. Oh, okay.
Augustine of Hippopotamus.
Oh,
that's Pat Lowinger's favorite guy, Augustine. He doesn't like that guy.
Sending so much love to Pat.
Historical figure, yeah.
All right. I think we are about to head into our closing statements and head out. But we are sending love. I'll send them 3 more loves before we go. But thank you, Sinister Porpoise, MD, and Native Atheist. Ember, you were the newest to join us tonight. You are going to be the first to give us our closing in 3, 2. Woo! But Ember, we have been skeptic and ranting on you won't believe it's not butter. Wait, different thing. You won't believe how many non-biblical sources confirm the resurrection. We hope you had a fun time. What do you got going on, and what is your final thoughts?
I can't believe the tomb is not empty.
Exactly.
Final thoughts? I believe how many non-biblical sources, because it's apparently 0. I believe it. That checks out. Stuff going on. Schedules are chaos. I'm plotting and scheming to do a call-in type show, sort of like this, on my channel. Mm-hmm. I did 1 episode last week, and it was fun. So I'm like, I'm kind of working on it, but my schedule's chaos. I'm not sure when it's going to be. There's one tentatively scheduled for next Thursday. And if it stays there, then it will lead into this other thing I do called the Transpositions Weekly, where I do the good news segment, because we need more fucking good news in the world. But whether that happens or not, you should definitely check out the Transpositions Weekly, because we're trying to get more representation out there, but it's hard. The algorithm does not like us, especially these days. Y'all may have noticed there's a little bit of a bias. Debate reviews with Mark Reid every other weekend. We're on his channel, my channel. Next week is my turn. Fresh debate coming up. In fact, it's a fresh debate. It's Alex O'Connor versus David Wood from just a couple of weeks ago. So that should be interesting as well. And there's probably more, but who the hell can keep track of everything? All my links are on betterthanever.com. That's why it's there, because I can't keep track either.
Woohoo! Everyone should check out betterthanever.com. Thank you so much, Ever, for joining us. Lovely as always. Keep on coming back. And all right, we are handing it over to the co-pilot.
Oh boy,
James,
I'm out.
help us land this plane. We have been Skeptic and Ranting, and you won't believe how many non-biblical sources confirm the resurrection. I hope you had fun, because I feel like this was definitely your wing house.
A lot of fun. Thanks, guys. Happy Easter. Good to see y'all. We'll be back next time. Thank you.
All right, I guess obligated because of my background. Happy Passover. No, I don't really care about either one. Happy Easter, happy Passover,
Shalom.
happy chocolate, happy sugar-free. Yeah, exactly. I am just going to instead. Oh, is there anyone live right now? I don't see anyone live. But go check out many amazing atheists out there. Is Oz still live? Oz is still live. He can use some love.
Of course Oz is still live. I was just thinking, I'm like, I saw Oz live. He usually goes for hours, sometimes all night. That man has stamina.
So go check out Oz. He's jamming out over there. As Ember says, he's got stamina, having fun. And yeah, all right. With that, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Skeptic and Ranting, my misfits. You won't believe how many non-biblical sources confirm the resurrection, where we watched a video from the channel Kirk Cameron on James. I want to say this. I like this. It's on TBN. TBN is
Trinity Broadcasting Network.
All right, there we go. Called You Won't Believe How Many Non-Biblical Sources Confirm the Resurrection for a Sourceful Good Time. That's not a word. Though I do want to thank my co-host, James W., along with our panel, Ember, as well as the lovely people in chat, our awesome mods who make this stream so great, which is Titan, as well as all the lovely people. Actually, there's like a dozen mods out there sending so much love. And lovely viewers like you who make this channel even possible. If you enjoy the show, please don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe. Because, whoa, you get access to that bell icon that when you hit it, you can see our premieres or join our live streams. I finally took down the heading of my latest open mic, but go check it out. I had fun. I got to do much more. They're so cathartic. Oh, my God. Or, hey, why not leave a comment once the video is done? This person hasn't been around that we're kind of roasting, but that's okay. Maybe he found a boyfriend or came out as a girlfriend. Anyway,
I mean, we love to see it.
Like this person, okay? I don't want to say who they are ever because then we would be giving them away. But they were such a sunflowerish person. And I just want to say, like, they came on the last time they came on, and they had a voice that I think sounded like what's coming out of my voice. And like they just come up here and they have this emotion, which is I'm a real man, which I'm sure you are. But they come up and they're like, why do all the gays have a gay voice? And I think we just have to stare at them. And you're like, do you hear yourself? And you're asking, is this your coming out? Is this how this works? James, were you as confused as I was as a straight man?
Very confused. Very, very confused.
Just making sure. All right, what were we
Totally
doing?
baffled.
Like I said, I'm sure he's snuggling up to someone, or they are, forcing themselves to snuggle up to them.
Oh, well, now they'll have to go become like Christian converts and redeem themselves or something.
That's true. Yo, sometimes the way they talk about Jesus and the way they talk about God is so close to like a daddy BDSM figure that I'm like, are you just 1-1 replacing? I mean, come on. Every time I'm like, they're like Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy. I'm like, yeah, but you're saying Heavenly Father. I mean,
Heavenly Father. Oh
my.
I get all the vapors.
If I had to, look at a thesaurus, I feel like Heavenly and Sky and Daddy and Father. But okay, who's counting? Yes, we want to send love to all of our fantastic channel members who have our evolving badge system down below. Along with our Discord. I forget, I always send love. I should send it. I need another Discord admin to upgrade people. We need to update so much, James. Spring cleaning is upon us. So much spring cleaning. Anyway, James like, I'll see it when I believe it. Discord server, we'll get to it. And the summer is upon us. It's magical. Oh my god.
We're just getting cherry blossoms up here, like 2 days ago.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's very pretty. All the flowers here are beautiful. Oh my god. I am a very in-between. I like my spring. I like fall. And anywhere between 60 and 79 degrees.
Checks out, yeah.
The 80s I can fight for, the 50s I can fight for, but like anything, if I start shivering or I start, sweating, I complain.
That's it. That's the happy. I mean, a light jacket, fine, whatever. But like when you have to like put on all the winter nope. Or when you want to peel your skin off because it's so
exactly, you can feel it. No. I don't want to be able to feel my skin. That's a weird sentence. Anyway, sponsored by whatever I just said and Nabisco. Yes, as well as all of our channel members lined at patreon.com/Amy Newman. I'm Amy Newman, and along with James W. and our fantastic panel, we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z. Good night, y'all. Go give us some love.
Happy Zombie Day.
Oh, yeah. Happy Zombie Day.